Well, well, well. They're talking about Deion Sanders is coming to Dallas. For y'all who getting in here early, y'all gonna get this part because I'm gonna probably have to cut this out for copyright reasons. But they're saying Deion is coming to Dallas. About Deion Sanders. Yes, sir. The real intro. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. I just had to give you something that I know ain't nobody else gonna give you. See, I'm a real Deion Sanders fan. They not gonna give you that prime time, but I'm gonna give you that prime time because Deion Sanders, y'all better understand something. Jerry Jones and Deion Sanders may be two different colors, but let me tell you something. They are both cut from the same cloth. And they are absolutely, you better believe, some of the greatest marketeers walking on this earth. There's a reason why Jerry Jones has the NFL so popular. Yeah, Jerry Jones has the NFL so popular. Y'all not listening to me. Some of y'all not listening to me. There's a reason why Deion Sanders, not only is he one of the greatest athletes to walk the face of this earth, Bo Jackson was a greater athlete than Deion Sanders. But Deion Sanders is a greater athlete and marketeer than Bo Jackson could ever dream of, because Deion Sanders, unlike a lot of people, he understands the business of football. He understands the business of success. Now, this is where Jerry Jones, even though Jerry Jones did this once upon a time, Deion has never dropped this moniker. And so when it comes to Deion Sanders, I don't believe he coming to Dallas. I'm not going to believe he coming to Dallas. I'm not going to believe it. I don't even have an opinion on Deion coming to Dallas per se. You know, I do think he need to stay true to his word about the thing with the Colorado Buffaloes, the students. I mean, all of these things he's doing with the young men and women. But hey, if he comes to Dallas, it is what it is. Now he gonna be the coach. If he the coach in Dallas, hey, I've always been a Deion Sanders fan. Let me tell y'all something about Deion Sanders. Deion believes, for all y'all who doubting Deion Sanders, you better believe this part. With Deion Sanders, winning comes with the show. Unlike Jerry Jones believed this at once upon a time. Deion Sanders has never stopped believing this. Winning comes with the show. There is no show without winning. There is no show without winning with Deion Sanders. I see a lot of people, they're talking on Twitter, or people talk sometimes in these comments, and people saying no to Deion Sanders. My uncle is already saying Deion Sanders come to this team, he done. Well, I've been here for a long time. It's going to take more than Deion Sanders for me to lead this team. I mean, it's going to take way more than Deion Sanders for me to lead this team. If I can be here through the Shane Gailey years, the Dave Campo years, if I can be here through all of these years, it's going to take a little bit more. I don't know about some of y'all. Some people, I'm done with Dallas. They hired Deion. Well, if I wasn't done with Dallas then, ain't no way I'm going to be done with Dallas now. But y'all better stop playing. Deion is one of the greatest marketeers in sports. Deion is playing the game, y'all. Boy, I'm telling you right now. Who do you think is leaking all this stuff? Now, y'all going to help me out. Y'all going to have to help me out. Who is leaking all this stuff? Because I'm confused. Didn't Deion just release a statement the other day? Deion just released a statement the other day talking about the offer is flattering. The offer. Didn't we just talk about Deion Sanders having a conversation with Jerry Jones? Isn't everybody been talking about this with all these memes and everything? Deion Sanders talking to Jerry Jones. The conversation. Oh, conversation is good. Did he not even say in that he wasn't leaving Colorado State? Who do y'all think? Yeah, y'all go quit. Y'all go quit playing with me. Y'all go quit playing with me. Who do you think? Who do you think is leaking all this stuff? Who? Oh, y'all don't think Deion Sanders got something to do with this? Okay. Man, come on. Come on, man. Deion is not dumb. Deion Sanders is not dumb, y'all. I'm just trying to tell you. Deion is playing the game, man. He is. Man, let me get some greetings in here and read some of y'all comments as we start off. I'm telling y'all, man, this is funny to me. I love me some Deion Sanders. But y'all better start waking up about this game, man. Some people know how to play this game better than other folk. And y'all need to understand something, man. Deion Sanders has been relevant for decades. How? Do we not realize that Deion Sanders has literally been relevant for decades? Baseball, football, Super Bowls. Deion Sanders out of football, gets his own reality TV show, broadcast on television. Okay, wait a minute. Deion goes quiet for a moment. All of a sudden, he starts coaching his sons. He's at Jackson State. Deion Sanders is coaching now and coaching his sons. Oh, wait a minute. Deion is back in the headlines. Wins the national HBCU national title. Now, goes to Colorado. Uh-oh. Deion relevant again. Decades. Deion Sanders, Colorado. Biggest show in college football. I don't even like college football. I watch Deion Sanders. I watch Colorado. Everything going on around Deion. Let me tell you something. Y'all might not believe me, but I'm telling you. Y'all know who ran Nick Saban out of college football? It wasn't just the NIL deals. Deion Sanders changed college football. People are not giving him credit. Deion has changed college football. Deion is a part of the reason why Nick Saban is no longer coaching in college, because Nick Saban don't want no part of this stuff. Nick Saban is old school. Nick Saban don't want none of this NIL stuff. And Nick Saban used to be the top recruiter in college football. Guess who came in and is now one of the top recruiters in football? Keep on playing with Deion Sanders. They mess around and put Deion Sanders on a big program, he'll cripple college football. Deion Sanders will cripple college football. And I'm not talking about in a bad way. He will literally cripple college football. Because when Deion Sanders walk up in your living room, must be the money. Let me tell you something. It's not just the fact that the children will want to play for Deion Sanders. If their daddy's in their life, let me tell you something. My son had an opportunity to play college football. I wish Deion Sanders would have walked up in this living room. It wouldn't even been a conversation. Where we sign at? Where we sign? There's some women out there. If Deion Sanders walk up in that living room and them women see Deion Sanders, where we sign? Let me tell y'all something. Deion has been relevant for decades. He is one of the greatest marketeers in sports that we currently have. And I don't even think people realize this. What in the world Deion Sanders got? What business has Deion Sanders got making a song called We Got the Money? This man was even relevant in music. This man was even relevant in music. We've already seen he's a part of the Netflix special. I don't know how much of a part he's going to play in this thing, but Deion Sanders is already a part of the Netflix special with Jerry Jones. Deion Sanders is one of the greatest marketeers. And that's why I'm laughing, man. People eating this Deion Sanders stuff up. Now, I'm not saying that it's not a possibility, because it is. I'm not saying it's not a possibility. But I'm right now on this possibility of Deion Sanders coming to the Dallas Cowboys. I was at a 1%. Let me say I'm about at a, you know what? Let me say I'm about at a 1.1% right now. I just don't believe Deion is coming to Dallas. Since I did the live stream this morning, I done kind of took a nap. Not a whole lot going on with Dallas Cowboys and Deion. I mean, with the Dallas Cowboys other than the Deion Sanders thing. But let me say it again. Let me do some greetings. I'm sorry, I get carried away with this Deion Sanders stuff. This stuff is hilarious to me. Freddie in the crib, what's going on? Freddie Morales, Richard, what's going on? Hurricane Jason, I don't think I've seen you here before, but if you have been, forgive me, but I don't think I've seen you. Welcome to the channel. Lord Nova, what is going on? Nisi, what is going on? Nisi, what you think about that Deion Sanders, that prime, that must be the money? I was busting out my old dance moves back in the day. Tony Brown, what's going on? Janie, what's going on? What's going on, Jose Covado? What is going on? Jay Recruiter in the crib. Tony Brown, what's going on? Miss Matrix, what's going on? Wicked, what's going on up in here? What's good? What's good with you? Supreme, what's going on? Richard Monroe, what's going on with you? Welcome to the show. Jason Craven, what's going on? Welcome to the show. Kevin Howard, back in the crib, what's going on? You see what else I got in there? Troy, what's going on? Kevin, what's going on? This is Troy, because there's two Troys in here, I'm sure. Troy Altizer, what's going on? Willie T, back in the crib, what's going on? Ice Cold Cowboy, what's going on? Andre Mosley, man, what's going on? Got David Donnell. It looks like what that is. David, you got to forgive me. I don't have my reading glasses on. What's going on? I think I got Birdmine up in the crib. What's going on with you? Keith Rivera, what's going on today? Michael James, welcome to the show. D-Rail Carter, what's going on? Janie Scott, what's going on with you? Hold on a second. The one and only Don Smith in the crib. Ron the Don Smith in the crib. What's going on with you? I see Charlie G. What's going on in here? Danks, what's going on? Blue Star Cowboys, what's going on? The 70s fan, back up in the crib, my cousin here. Vincent Johnson, what's going on? Richard Owens, what's going on? Roberta, in the crib, what's going on? P Funk. Every time I see you, I think about Parliament Funkadelic. Cowboys Hater Herder, I love the name. What's going on? CL in the crib. Charles M, what's going on? Glad to see all y'all in here. Philip Thomas, what's going on? Chavez Joppy, what's going on? I think that's what that says there. Tony Nichols, what's going on? Y'all hit that like button as I do these welcomes. Y'all hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. What's going on, Keith? I'm sorry, I already did you. Queen, what's going on, LaQueen Jackson? What is going on with you? James Hill, Jared Thomas up in the crib. What's going on? Robert M, what's going on with you, man? Joe Martinez. All right. And then I got John Wade in the crib. All right. And then I got Mim. I think that's Mim 10. All right. I'll have to read the rest of y'all as you come in. But this thing with Deion Sanders, this is pure content gold. It is pure content gold. It is. It's pure content gold. Because, come on, man. Deion Sanders in Dallas is, I'm telling you, don't get me wrong. I know there are some people who don't like it. But there will be some benefits if Deion Sanders comes to Dallas. I'm just telling you, there will be some benefits. There will definitely be some benefits. So let's go over some things. Where do you think this stuff is coming from? So all of a sudden, So Deion Sanders, or at least from what we're hearing from Deion Sanders, I want to see Deion say some of this stuff with his own mouth. First, Deion says he doesn't want to coach pro ball. He doesn't want to coach pro ball. So to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, and you think about this. I want you to think about what's happening simultaneously. I don't want to coach pro ball. Well, there's no job opening in Dallas yet. There's no job opening. I don't want to coach grown men. I like what I'm doing with the kids. I love what I'm doing in Colorado. I parked my kickstand. Now, folks don't understand. Deion was saying something. Deion was saying something that was very important when he said he's let down his kickstand. Well, some of y'all who don't have them old school bicycles, man, having a kickstand didn't mean nothing. You can kick that kickstand up and go on ride off somewhere else as quickly as you put that kickstand down. Deion Sanders was already kind of sending out little messages there saying, well, the kickstand. He was saying something I hadn't heard what I want to hear yet. So Deion Sanders then starts to say he doesn't want to coach the Dallas Cowboys. There's no job available. But Mike McCarthy now is no longer with the Cowboys. So now it's changing again because he also said before this he wouldn't coach in the NFL unless he could coach his sons. So you're telling me now with all of the trade stuff, all this dumb trade stuff, for all you people who talking about trading Dak Prescott, you do not understand the business of football. No trade clause. You do know what that means, right? The Cowboys can present any change they want to Dak Prescott. But he has the veto power. Dak Prescott can just say, don't like it, let's keep going. But I don't think that trading Dak Prescott is in the cards for the Dallas Cowboys. Because one, he's not going to accept any trade. Two, the ramifications from the salary cap perspective. Massive. They wouldn't be able to build a team for at least 3-4 years. What would be the point in bringing in Dak Prescott if you can't even build a team? What would be the point? I mean, we're talking you wouldn't be able to build this thing for 3 or 4 years. Are y'all ready for that? I don't think y'all are ready for that. But now, all of a sudden, he'll come here and take Dak Prescott? What? Who's leaking this stuff? Who's leaking these Deion Sanders concessions? Because guess what? These are concessions. These are concessions. Still don't believe it. And the reason why I think these are leaks, they can't come out of Deion Sanders' mouth. Y'all do understand this, right? Deion is playing a very crafty game. I release a statement, me personally, Deion Sanders. I don't want to come to Dallas. That's Deion Sanders. That's me. But then I'm going to play both sides of the fence. Hey, publicist. Hey, go out here and leak. Go out here and leak that I would come to Dallas. Go out here and leak that I would come to Dallas. Why would we do that? Why wouldn't we do it? Why wouldn't Deion want this stuff leaked? Why wouldn't he? Because if he leaks this stuff, guess who else is hearing it? Oh, y'all think this is about us. That's what y'all think. Y'all think this is about us. This is about Deion Sanders. And I don't blame him for what he's doing. This is about Deion Sanders sending a message to the Colorado Buffaloes. Deion is sending a message to the Colorado Buffaloes. Hey, y'all remember what I told you about negotiating? I don't know if y'all remember what I told you about negotiating. What can you bring to the table in a negotiation that will make somebody give in to your demands? This is why I keep telling folks about the Dak Prescott contract. The leverage was heavy for Dak Prescott. It was. Dak Prescott had the Cowboys in a chokehold, and it wasn't his fault. They allowed him to do it. But Deion Sanders is doing something that is so crafty. He doesn't have to go back to the table with the Colorado Buffaloes. He doesn't have to be rude. He doesn't have to be nasty. He doesn't have to bust into the office saying, okay, guys, enrollment is up. Ticket sales are up. The TV attention is up. Everything around this thing is up. Now, y'all gave me a contract before I made any of these things happen. So now that I'm making all these things happen, where's the money? And we can love it, like it, or hate it. Nobody cared who nobody cared who the Colorado Buffaloes were. I mean, I'm not saying nobody. There were some people who liked the Colorado Buffaloes. There were people who were already going to the school. But it's Deion Sanders who has really put the Colorado Buffaloes on the national map. And so Deion is saying, without saying in some respect, hey, you know what? You made this contract before I was really doing the do up in here. Man, I got this thing so blown up right now. Where's the money? Now, somebody might say, man, Deion is all about the money. Let me tell you something. No. Deion is just playing the game everybody else is playing. These schools bring in money hand over fist. Y'all would be shocked what these boosters, these donors, all the money these people collect, whether it be TV money, they're getting all this stuff. Jersey sales money. College football, man, I'm telling you something. I'm so glad these kids are finally being paid. Some people don't like that. I don't care. You old school. I'm glad these kids are finally getting paid. Why do we want them just to make all the doggone money, the NCAA to make all the money, the schools to make all the money, and then we have the unmitigated gall to say, well, at least those kids are getting an education. Y'all tell me how many of your own kids went to college on your dime, got degrees, and ain't even using those degrees in jobs no more. I'll wait. School is not for everybody. Everybody who go to college and get a degree don't go and get great jobs and use those degrees. No, a lot of times they're in nothing but hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. Student loans, they can't even pay the student loans back. And people say, well, if you can't pay for school, you shouldn't go. That's actually not how it was designed. They entice these kids. They entice these parents. That's why you should go, because you can't afford to go. And don't worry, we know you can't afford to go, but this is going to pay off. It's going to pay dividends. How about you just get these student loans? And the job you get, you'll be able to pay those loans back with the job you get easy. Yeah, easier said than done. Doesn't always work like that. Even the banks are getting rich off this stuff. The banks are getting rich off loans. And nobody wanted the kids to get any of the money. Oh, you're getting an education. Stop it. Stop it. Deion Sanders is playing the game. Deion Sanders is saying something, and I don't blame him. And I hope you take this same approach. Please don't let anybody make money off your likeness and you don't get paid too. Please don't let people do it. I implore you right now, if you're working for someone, please figure out what you do well and monetize it. Don't spend your entire life working for someone else, or don't spend your entire life making someone else rich. You figure out what you do well that someone wants, and then you monetize it and you make money off you. It's okay if some people make money off you. Some people are going to make money off you. It's just a bottom line. But you make sure that when folk making money off you, you make money off you too. We start talking about, oh man, it's all about the money. Let me tell you something. Deion Sanders is just saying something very simple to all of us. Yeah, it must be the money. It must be the money. You think about what that song is about in reality. It must be the money. Why do you think people wanted Deion? Winning and the money. How much more popular you think a team becomes when Deion Sanders got on it back in the day? I mean, I don't know. Anybody wasn't really checking. I mean, Atlanta Falcons fans probably were, but nationally, nobody was checking for the Atlanta Falcons until Deion Sanders got there. San Francisco 49ers, they were a very storied franchise. But let me tell you something. You don't think Deion Sanders adds a little bit of mustard on that sandwich? Oh, man. When Jerry knew exactly what he was doing. Jerry, let's go with Jimmy. Hold on. How do I quail the talking about what I did with Jimmy? I let Jimmy walk rather than renewing his contract. So how do I kind of quail all the talk going on about Jimmy? Well, at that time, Deion Sanders was one of the premier athletes in the world. Jerry said, oh, I know what I'll do. Just like when he let go of Landry. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll buy the team, kick Landry out, fan base get mad, bring in Jimmy Johnson, trade Herschel Walker, and only build one of the greatest teams to ever play in the NFL. I'll win 3 Super Bowls, and by the time I win the first one, no one will even remember what I did with Tom Landry. Yeah, us do, we do. A lot of the young folk, they don't even understand anything about Landry. We can talk about Tom Landry all we want to the young folk. They don't know anything about Tom Landry. Some people became Dallas Cowboy fans when Jimmy Johnson came here. And then he lets go of Jimmy. How can I make everyone be quiet again? Okay, we lost in the playoffs to the San Francisco 49ers. Bring in Deion Sanders. Not only will he help us win, y'all don't even realize this part. Deion helped the Dallas Cowboys win in the eyes of public opinion. Because for a lot of folk who don't want Deion Sanders as the coach, some folk who don't like Deion Sanders, they liked him then. Deion came to Dallas and was electric. He set the fan base. The Cowboys don't need a whole lot. I mean, folk already love the Cowboys. So a lot of folks hate the Cowboys. Man, Deion Sanders stepped in this thing, man. Deion Sanders set this fan base on fire. And people were like, Jimmy who? At least for a couple of years. They were Jimmy who? Only problem is Barry Switzer, unlike Jimmy, Barry couldn't manage all that talent and egos. See, Jimmy could manage those egos because Jimmy got an ego himself. Jimmy got a huge ego. Y'all better understand something. Jimmy Johnson has a huge ego. He does. Huge ego. Why wouldn't he? He's won on every level. He knows how to win. Back in the day, he was a shark. He would do whatever he had to do to win. So you think about Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson could manage. He can manage egos. He got one himself. He got a huge ego. And so the Deion Sanders talk, y'all. I'm just not swayed by it. I'm not swayed by the Deion Sanders talk. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, every time somebody started talking about it, I'm kind of like, oh, really? Deion's coming to Dallas? And then I slap myself. Wait a minute. Come on, stop this. Stop this. Stop listening to the media. They have no stories. Isn't it crazy? We're literally in the midst, in my opinion, We're literally in the midst of one of the greatest playoff seasons that we've had in a while. Y'all think about this. We have the Detroit Lions, the Philadelphia Eagles, that look like they're on a collision course, right? But don't get it twisted. We also better be on upset alert. Because if the Detroit Lions come off that bye week half-stepping, Jaden Daniels will run them right out of their own stadium. Jaden Daniels will run them out of their own stadium. Dan Quinn will come in there and have that team so fired up, they will win that game if Detroit doesn't at least bring its A- game. I don't think they have to bring their quote-unquote A or A+ game for the Washington Commanders, but they better bring their A- game, because they step up in there with their B game or their C game, Washington will roll up in Detroit and knock them right out the box. Philadelphia Eagles, I believe they're going to beat the Rams in the ground, contrary to what some people think. Let the Philadelphia Eagles come up in there half-stepping. Sean McVay is a good enough coach. Sean McVay will beat the Eagles in a close game if the Eagles are not on their A game. The Eagles will do good if they put the Rams away early. If the Eagles don't put the Rams away early, it's going to be a problem. It'll be a problem. You think about this. We have the Baltimore Ravens, not to mention the storyline of the Philadelphia Eagles getting Saquon Barkley. Now they got Kellen Moore. And he's now in the headlines. And I'm going to talk about this in just a moment with Kellen Moore. And then you think about on the other side of the AFC. Do y'all not realize we're on the verge? We're really on the verge of watching some insane football in the AFC. Is the Derrick Henry thing going to pay off for Lamar Jackson? He has one more playoff win than Dak Prescott now. Can he get two more wins than Dak Prescott? Because I don't care what anyone says. Lamar Jackson, anything short of the Super Bowl is a failure. Lamar Jackson, anything short of a Super Bowl is a failure. He's won 2 MVPs. One of those should be Dak Prescott's, but I digress. He's got 2 MVPs. He's in the running for a 3rd MVP, and I don't see how they don't give him the MVP when he's first team All-Pro. He's first team All-Pro. Josh Allen is second team All-Pro. So how do you give him the MVP? Lamar Jackson was first team All-Pro last year. Dak Prescott was second team All-Pro. They didn't give it to Dak. So how do they give it to Josh Allen? But we're watching 2 Clash of the Titans. And then after that, we may possibly see Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson. We are literally in the midst of one of the greatest playoff seasons we've had in a while. And the Dallas Cowboys are all the headlines. The Dallas Cowboys are all the headlines. Because at the end of the day, the football ratings are down. So you know how they're boosting some of these ratings? The Deion Sanders story is gold for them. The Deion Sanders story to Dallas is gold. I'm waiting. Let me read this super chat. I'm waiting on the huge deal for Deion Sanders. I'm waiting on it. When does Colorado say, man, enough of this talk? Let's go ahead and settle this whole thing with this Dallas Cowboy thing, because you never know how they're looking at it. Maybe they're saying this is getting some legs on it. Maybe this is getting some legs. I'm waiting on the Colorado signing. I am. I'm waiting on it. Immaculate Heart, appreciate that $9.99 super chat. Immaculate Heart says, I think this has been done. This is a perfect fit for the franchise. So many former NFL greats have co-signed this. You know they are waiting. They are wanting time. Waiting time. Hold on a second. Waiting time until Super Bowl week to announce. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Immaculate Heart. a lot of people have already been saying no doubt in their minds. They'll say there's no doubt in their minds that Jerry is going to wait to the Super Bowl week to announce the coach. Hey, but Immaculate Heart, let's think about this. You don't think the NFL wants this? Y'all, us, may not want this. Immaculate Heart. The NFL would love this. It's publicity for the NFL. They would love this. They want this. The NFL. Y'all got to figure out how the NFL figures into all of this. They love this talk too. It equates to the NFL is getting notoriety. They love it too. They do. They do. And right now, the NFL, I'm telling y'all, the ratings are down. The ratings have been down the entire season. And I'm telling you, there are only two major things. And someone mentioned today the San Francisco 49ers are not in it. I think that may be a part in it too. But there are actually two major things that happened in the NFL this year that has been the cash cow for them over the last few years. One, does anybody not realize how many Monday mornings do we wake up? Dak Prescott is in the headlines. How many Monday mornings did we wake up over the last 2 to 3 years? Dak Prescott in the headlines for winning and especially for losing. It's amazing you're going 12-5. People critiquing your game all kinds of ways. But in particular, in the losses, the 3-letter and 4-letter networks were thriving. They were thriving. You know why? Because they could talk about Dak Prescott. How good he actually wasn't. How good is he? Dak Prescott is trash. Dak Prescott is overpaid. Dak Prescott's not top 5. Dak Prescott, is he top 5? Is he top 10? Y'all do not realize it. See, we try to talk about YouTubers. It's strange to me. A lot of these personalities used to talk about YouTubers, and now we're watching all the personalities become YouTubers. Now they're becoming content creators. They were all eating off of Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott needs to be getting royalties off of the Skip Baylesses of the world. Skip Bayless should be sending Dak Prescott royalties. Joy Taylor ought to be sending Dak Prescott royalties. Jason Whitlock ought to be sending Dak Prescott royalties. Stephen A. Smith should owe him 20% of his salary, doggone it. Dak should be able to copyright some of this stuff because everybody eating off Dak Prescott, but he eating from the Dallas Cowboys. He's eating from getting the endorsement deals. But you better believe Dak should even be eating off these folk who've been eating off of him, talking on this man's name, sullying this man's name. But when you quiet all the talking and you go look at the tape, you go look at the stats, you go look at the wins. If you were to get rid of all the media minutia, all the Dak Prescott hatred, and you were to just examine Dak Prescott, you would be kicking yourself in the butt saying, this guy's good. This guy's better than good. This guy is off the chain. People don't realize it. Dak Prescott gets a Super Bowl. You're going to be shocked. He will be first ballot Hall of Famer with 1 Super Bowl because he got the numbers. People don't realize it. Dak has the stats. Dak has the numbers. Dak has Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, top 5 numbers within the number of years he's been playing. The only thing, you think about this, Dak Prescott has video game numbers. He's played a 5-game season because of an injury. And now we got another season to where, what did Dak play? 8, 9 games? If you would examine this man in a vacuum, you'd realize just how good he is. But the hatred in Dallas, it's a shame, because as much as we talk about our mystique and all of these different things, a lot of this fan base is ran by the media. A lot of our opinions are ran by the media. That's why when people start talking about Deion Sanders, I had to slap myself. Hold on. You do realize some of these guys are reporting because they're trying to be content creators also. They're trying to get the clicks. They're trying to get the likes. They're trying to get the attention. They're trying to get all of these things. So they have to take this man and destroy him. Nobody else gets this treatment. Why just Dak? Dak Prescott is a cash cow. He knows it. I think this is why some of this stuff doesn't faze Dak Prescott. He knows he's a cash cow. You don't think that Jerry Jones also in his thinking in signing Dak Prescott, that Jerry Jones doesn't realize that Dak Prescott is a cash cow? You want to have your entire mind blown? Go look at the Cowboys' value when Dak Prescott became the quarterback, and go look at the Cowboys' value after he becomes the quarterback, as in after 3 to 4 years. Go look at it. It'll blow your mind. We were also getting up on Monday mornings, and all they were talking about was the Dallas Cowboys. Are they in the playoffs? Are they going to the Super Bowl? 30-year drought. Will they go to the Super Bowl? When they go to the playoffs? Will they go to the NFC Championship game? Let me tell you something. When the Cowboys lost against the Green Bay Packers last year, y'all don't understand something. You want to know why people were so mad? There's no more stories. What other stories does anybody want to hear? There's no more stories. Do y'all know how much bigger the playoffs would have been last year if the Cowboys beat the Green Bay Packers? If the Cowboys go on and beat the 49ers? Do we not realize how big this would have been for the NFL, the 3-letter and the 4-letter networks? Y'all don't realize something. This is why I think something is brewing with the Cowboys. Y'all might not realize this. I keep saying the Cowboys will get the chip in 2026. Everybody's saying, why are you saying this? I'm just telling you, it's being set up, it seems to me, for the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl in 2026. The NFL needs it. I mean, y'all keep talking about the Cowboys. And they keep losing. They're going to lose fans and blah, 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 and this and that and this and that. Can I inform y'all of something? If the NFL ever wants to increase its ratings again, the Dallas Cowboys need to win. And they need to win big. The NFL needs the Dallas Cowboys. Just like Scarface said, y'all need a bad guy. Okay, I'll be the bad guy. That's what Scarface said. He was absolutely right. Do y'all know people need a bad guy? People need a bad guy so they can be the good guy. So they can put the bad guy down, so they can look like the good guy in the eyes of people. When in actuality, he's really pointing out something very powerful. Y'all need a bad guy because the reality is y'all are the bad guy. Y'all are the bad guy. But y'all need a bad guy so y'all can look like the good guy. That's why I keep telling y'all. We get mad when someone says, well, the players in the college got money. Oh, they just want money. Deion Sanders is all about the money. He just want money. Jerry Jones is all about money. He just want money. But we're not talking about everybody else who's getting money. We don't talk about everybody else who's getting money. So the people who getting money They need somebody to be the bad guy so they don't look like they're money hungry. So the bad guy is the money hungry one, and so I get to get off the hook. So the Dallas Cowboys, the NFL needs Dallas. And if the Cowboys keep losing, how do you increase the TV money? Colin Cowherd said something that I thought was astounding. I don't know. I'm still kind of like, I don't even know where I am on this, because this statement is so astounding. Do y'all know, at least according to Colin Cowherd, do y'all know Dak Prescott is more popular than Patrick Mahomes? Colin Cowherd said this, not me. Colin Cowherd said Dak Prescott is the most popular quarterback in the NFL. You don't think the NFL needs Dak Prescott to win? They do. Some of y'all are worried about football. The NFL is also worried about the business of football. Some of y'all talk football. You got to learn football. The business plays a huge part in this. Why do you think we got all these betting things? I just, matter of fact, I just got my membership thing, and they haven't approved it yet. They have to go, YouTube has to approve everything. But for all of you guys who have started following me, subscribers, I so much appreciate it. And one of the things that I want to do with this channel, I don't want this channel to be built upon sponsorships. Some of those may come in the future. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. I'm still going to do what I do. But I hope when I get my memberships, I hope many of you become members of the community that I'm trying to build with y'all. Because I don't want to be dependent upon the Bet USAs and all of these betting houses, what these other people are doing. Hey, more power to you. That's just not in my beliefs when it comes to God. Gambling is not something that we should be doing as Christians. But y'all do what you want to do. I'm not going to judge you. But understand, that's not how God operates with us. We don't gamble. We walk by faith. We don't walk by these things like the world does. I mean, I don't know what your beliefs are. I'm just saying what I believe. So I'm not going to be accepting, because I'm sure, unless they see this, but I'm sure the moment I hit a certain number of subscribers, they're going to come knocking on the door. I don't want to build a community like that, where it's built on those types of things, alcohol and stuff like that. I don't deal in those things. But I'm telling us, the NFL. The NFL needs, they need the Cowboys to win. Y'all might not understand what I'm telling you. They need the Cowboys to win. If the Cowboys win, the NFL wins and hits the lottery. I'm blown away when Colin Cowherd said this. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe when Colin Cowherd said that Dak Prescott, as much as people hate on him, he's the most popular quarterback in the NFL. And you know how I know that the Cowboys need, that the NFL needs the Cowboys? How popular is Patrick Mahomes? Now, Patrick Mahomes is from my hometown area. Y'all haven't noticed something, have you? He can't carry the NFL. He can't. He can't carry the NFL. No. Dak Prescott has helped, and I'm not talking about through winning, but through popularity. Dak Prescott has carried the NFL. He's been a part of the news cycle. Tell me a time when Dak Prescott hasn't been a part of the news cycle. Dak Prescott is hurt, and they're still going to him in the press boxes talking about, hey, man, look how many waters he got on the desk. They need the Cowboys to be successful. They do. They need them to be successful. And so when you think about all of everything I'm saying, just imagine what's going to happen if Deion Sanders does come to the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, we're popular right now. Jerry Jones brings Deion Sanders to the Dallas Cowboys. And this thing is going to explode. And for every one of you who talking about you going to lead the franchise, my uncle said he going to lead the franchise. Don't worry. There'll be 1,000 people to take your spot. There will literally be 1,000 people to take your spot if the Cowboys were to get Deion Sanders. It'll be off the chain if they get Deion Sanders. I'm going to come back to Deion Sanders in a moment. I want to look at another story that's floating around. Can we kind of, as the fan base, can we calm down on the Kellen Moore stuff? I mean, can we calm down on the Kellen Moore stuff? I keep pointing this out about Kellen Moore. Y'all can tell me anything y'all want to about Kellen Moore. I'm not advocating for Kellen Moore to be the offensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. But we just got to be real with this. We have got to keep this 100% real. Kellen Moore did better with the Dallas Cowboys than Mike McCarthy. We're giving Mike McCarthy credit for 3 12-win seasons. Do we not realize that in 2 of those 12-win seasons, now we realize from Bobby Belt, Mike McCarthy is behind the scenes raising all kinds of hell, paranoid behind Dan Quinn, ran Amari Cooper out the building. And now, for all you folk who said Bobby Belt is a liar, go look at Mike Fisher's live stream today. Go look at it. Mike Fisher basically verified what Bobby Belt said. I had never heard Mike Fisher say what he said today until Bobby Belt spilled the beans. I never heard Mike Fisher say that Mike McCarthy pushed Kellen Moore out the door. I never heard him say that before. Why did he say it today? Kellen Moore's been gone from Dallas, what, 2 years? Mike Fisher, Cowboy Insider, why hadn't he reported it? Ed Water, don't remember him reporting it. Jane Slaughter Slater, haven't heard her report it. Nobody has reported it. Bobby Belts reported it. I hadn't heard Ed Water come out and say it was a lie. I haven't heard Jane Slaughter Slater come out and say it was a lie. And I heard Mike Fisher today with my own ears come out and verify it's true. It's true. For all you who didn't believe Bobby Belt, you know what else Mike Fisher said that verified everything that Bobby Belt said? You know what Mike Fisher said? Bobby Belt did a great job with that piece. What you say? He did a great job with that piece. So you're saying you don't disagree with anything he's saying? Bingo. Bingo. Mike McCarthy, being a teddy bear in the public, was being a grizzly bear behind the scenes and was literally tearing this team up. And unlike Bobby Belt, he's a Cowboys insider. I'm not. I'm not going to go away from the fact that the common denominator in these messes is none other than Jerry Jones. Yeah, Jerry Jones plays a huge part in a lot of this mess, but understand this. I want us to get this narrative out of our head that Mike McCarthy had no control on this team. Mike McCarthy, according to everything now that we're seeing and hearing, that joker had all kinds of control on this team. And for any of us who are in the DFW area, y'all know this, what I'm telling you is true, what I'm about to say about the Joneses. They use the media as a battering ram. Whenever they want to deal with contracts with the teams, strange how stuff always start leaking out in the media. It's strange how weird stuff will start coming up about players in the media. And all of a sudden, 105.3 The Fan, they will literally go on a campaign They'll go on a campaign and they'll be slaughtering players in the local media. And we're kind of sitting here like, what is this? Why are we tearing this player up? Oh, I know what it is. He's got a contract coming up. He's in a contract year, and we don't want to pay him. I'm just wondering a part of this. See, this is all a game. I'm wondering if a part of this is, I'm tired of y'all making Mike McCarthy into a sympathetic figure. Jerry Jones let the dogs loose. Jerry Jones, I believe, I'm just saying. I believe Jerry Jones let the dogs loose. Hey, everybody talking all this noise about we did Mike McCarthy wrong. Everybody trying to make Mike McCarthy into a sympathetic figure. Turn them doggone hounds loose and let them know what this man has been doing behind the scenes and let them know the control we actually have given Mike McCarthy. Let them dogs loose. Some people may call it a hit piece. No, I'm not calling it a hit piece. Nah, they let them dogs loose on that joker. They let them dogs loose because they're telling you some things that's actually true about Mike McCarthy. They let them dogs loose on him. That's what they did to Mike McCarthy, y'all. They let them dogs loose. James Slater's not denying it. Ed Water not denying it. I find it to be strange. You don't find nobody disputing Bobby Belt. Why? Why are they not disputing him? For all you Bobby Belt haters, I don't know. You might. I can't tell. I can't tell you not to hate that. Hate Bobby Belt. I would tell you not to hate anybody. But maybe you have your reasons. I don't know. Maybe he did something to you. Maybe you saw him in an ice cream shop one day in Dallas and he knocked the ice cream cone out of your hand, and you've been mad ever since. Bobby Belt has made it clear he don't like Mike McCarthy, but that don't change truth. Hating on you ain't the problem. Hating on you because of a truth that is true, that's the problem. I believe Jerry and Steven let them dogs loose on Mike McCarthy. And for me, I don't even work for them. They didn't have to let me loose. I'm just using my own logic. We're tearing Dak Prescott down for 3 12-win seasons. We allowed Kellen Moore to walk out the door after he won a playoff game, y'all. Do we realize Kellen Moore walked out the door after winning a playoff game and losing to the San Francisco 49ers only 12-19? You want to know why Jerry Jones is mad? I let you let go of Amari Cooper. I let you let go of Kellen Moore. I let you take over the play calling. I let you do all these things. And what do you do after you take over the play calling from Kellen Moore, who just got us a playoff win against Tom Brady, lost 12-19 to the San Francisco 49ers? Oh, what do you do, Mike McCarthy? He only goes out and has one of the worst losses in franchise history to the Green Bay Packers. Yeah, we're in the record books because of that one. You wouldn't have been mad? I'm just saying, I'm not advocating for Kellen Moore to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, but can we calm down on acting like Jerry has already signed the contract? I don't know if he's going to sign Kellen Moore. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm having a hard time when people say to me, well, who do you think they're going to hire? My uncle's all been asking me, who do you think they're going to hire? To be honest with you, I don't have a clue. I literally do not have a clue who the Cowboys. Now, if you ask me, who would it be if you were talking about, hey, who would be the most comfortable pick for the Dallas Cowboys? Okay, now I can tell you then. Okay, that's going to be Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is the most comfortable pick for the Dallas Cowboys. And so, if that's what they're looking for, then Kellen Moore is going to be the man. But I think the linchpin in all of this is, while I do believe that the Deion Sanders stuff is all publicity and hype, I would not be surprised. I mean, if Jerry can actually get Deion, Jerry is going to get Deion. I believe it. I believe if he can. I think he already knows that he can't. But if he can, I think he's going to get Deion Sanders. I do. I think he's going to get Deion Sanders if he can, but I don't think he can. So it's strange to me. Niecy brought this up this morning. She was saying that she hopes the Eagles doesn't grant the Dallas Cowboys an interview with Kellen Moore. I'll be honest with you. I was absolutely shocked today. I was absolutely shocked that the Philadelphia Eagles have granted the Dallas Cowboys an interview with Kellen Moore. I was dumbfounded on this. I was absolutely dumbfounded on this. But it tells me something, and I could be totally off on this. But it tells you something to me about how the Eagles feel about Kellen Moore. And some of you may think about this and say, well, they must not want Kellen Moore. They must not like Kellen Moore and all these different things. I don't look at it like that. I think sometimes when you really do a great job for a team, they will grant you some of these things because they want you to succeed. It's strange to me that they're allowing Kellen Moore to do this because I would kind of figure like, hey, man, y'all need to wait till after the season. They're letting him do it now. If I'm not mistaken, he will be interviewed via Zoom, I think, come Friday. I'm dumbfounded by this. But it tells me something about the Philadelphia Eagles. They really got a lot of respect for Kellen Moore. I'm going to tell you something. I worked for a place one time, and there was an opportunity to go to a larger place, more benefits. I mean, just all kinds of things. And one of the guys came to me, and he told me, he said, man, I got to be honest with you. He said, I do not want you to leave. He said, but what kind of person would I be to tell you not to take this opportunity that is going to pay you double the money? You're going to have double the opportunities. It's going to help you and your family. What kind of man would I be if I told you don't take that opportunity? I don't want you to take that opportunity. I would want you to stay. And we're going to make you a counter offer, but I'm pretty sure because the place was way bigger than the place I was. He said, we're going to make you a counter offer. And we're going to do everything we can, but I can't lie to you. This is a great opportunity for you. And to me, it's just like, man, the Eagles must have a lot of respect for Kellen Moore. Not only do they have a lot of respect for Kellen Moore, I mean, they got a lot of confidence in themselves and Kellen Moore because obviously they don't feel like this is going to be a distraction, and he's got a playoff game coming up on, what is it, Saturday or Sunday? I wouldn't do it. I mean, it's not even about the Dallas Cowboys if I'm the Eagles. No, man, we're trying to make a Super Bowl run. You're going to have to wait to talk to anybody who wants to talk to any coach on this team. You're going to have to wait. Because if I'm not mistaken, the Cowboys have also asked to talk to another coach on their staff. They want to interview another coach on their staff. And so some of us, let's calm down about the Kellen Moore stuff. He isn't signed. He is not signed. And even if the Cowboys sign Kellen Moore, we don't even know at this point if they're even they may be interviewing him for the head coach job. But we don't even know if they do hire him, if they hire him for the head coach. Because you think about this. if what we're hearing about Deion Sanders is true, let's come back full circle to Deion Sanders. If what we're hearing about Deion Sanders is true, Deion Sanders is going to need a staff. And while Jerry is probably going to allow Deion to bring on some staff, I think there will be some staff that Jerry will want to make sure that even with Deion bringing some of his people, these are the people, Deion, that you're going to have to take. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kellen Moore is one of the people that Jerry wants to bring on. Maybe he could convince Deion to bring him on as an OC. But the issue is with bringing him on as an OC, that's going to be more of a lateral move for Kellen Moore. So if he brings on Deion, it might not happen. But then if he does bring in Kellen Moore as the coach, which I just don't know. I'm just not convinced on that either yet. Jerry is really playing this so close to the vest. I just don't know what he's doing. And I think everyone else is trying to scramble and see what he's doing. And I think that's why they keep trying to throw stuff at the board, hoping something will stick so they can say, okay, this is what he's going to do. Nobody knows. Really. Nobody knows what Jerry is doing but Jerry. And I said this at the beginning of the season. Jerry has had a plan from the beginning. Y'all better stop thinking that this is unplanned. Nah, this is planned. I called it planned demolition at the beginning of the season, and I'm still sticking to what I said. This is all planned. Jerry knew doggone well when he sat down with Mike McCarthy. Jerry Jones, this is why he did not want to do the contract part first. He wanted to sit down and talk to Mike McCarthy, man to man, and flat out tell this dude, but if you come back here, let me tell you what you're going to have to, these are the stipulations. You remember that tolerance of ambiguity? I wouldn't be surprised if Jerry was talking about, hey, 2 years with a 1 year option, 1 year with a 1 year option. You're not going to be the play caller. I mean, oh, and we know the one James Slater is reporting. Oh, by the way, Jason Witten's going to be on your staff. Mike McCarthy said, heck no, I put up with this with Dan Quinn. I am not doing this again. He got out. You don't think they knew that there was a possibility that he was going to be out? Man, you know doggone well, you know a person good enough. If a person has been with you for 5 years, you telling me you don't know him good enough that there are certain things that you're going to bring to him for those of us who are married. Tell me you don't know doggone well. There are certain things that you can talk to your husband or wife about, and you know they're going to get all hot and bothered. Come on, man. Jerry knew this stuff. Jerry knew. Jerry's already had a plan. I said it from the beginning. The problem is we don't like the plan. We don't. We don't like the plan. Jerry planned on Mike McCarthy being on the last year of his deal. He planned it. After that Green Bay loss, I'm telling y'all, Jerry was already done. Jerry checked out on Mike McCarthy the moment they lost that Green Bay game. And now you gotta ask yourself why. I'm giving you some clues. Jerry gave Mike some control. Jerry let go of Amari Cooper. Jerry let Kellen Moore walk out the door. Gave Mike McCarthy the play calling back. Didn't try to bring in another OC. Okay, you're gonna try to do it your way, right? I'm gonna let you do it your way. But I'm telling you, in doing it your way, Mike, you better do better. You better do better than Kellen Moore. You better bring me better results than you brought me with Kellen Moore. A lot of folk they're not even in on this. I'm putting y'all up on game. Mike McCarthy failed. Mike McCarthy failed. He did. He failed in the eyes of Jerry Jones. Bobby Belt gave us the behind the scenes stuff that allows us to connect the dots. No. Mike McCarthy failed. And Jerry, as crazy as I'm sounding, shame on us that we're not smarter in this as we've been in the past. We're not even seeing this for what it is. And we should be thinking like Jerry on this issue. Mike McCarthy was not the OC. in those 2 winning seasons. Kellen Moore, even before this thing with Mike McCarthy in the all-pro season for Dak Prescott, no, Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott were already putting up video game numbers. Period. End of story. No one can deny it. They were already putting up video game numbers. So what did Mike McCarthy come behind Kellen Moore and do? Not with his own offense, but with a hybrid of Kellen Moore's offense. He did the same thing. He did the same thing. The same person who said he wanted to run the damn ball to rest up his defense and control the time of possession, he ran the ball the same amount of times as Kellen Moore, or the same percentage as Kellen Moore pretty much. He didn't do anything different. You know the only thing that was different? He got the play calling. That's it. So you're telling me you would be willing to sabotage your team for your own selfishness, to get the play calling back, for your own selfishness, so now you can be the center of attention for the team. So you're telling me that's what you did. And we wonder why that team never could get over the hump, why that team never could win. What was some of the issues going on in the background with this team? Why did the team never seem like a team? And if you didn't notice it this year, I'd been talking about this stuff. I mean, Michael was a lot more chirpy. Michael Parsons was a lot more chirpy. Even Dak Prescott was a lot more chirpy about how this team is not functioning right. Oh, I like Mike McCarthy, but Mike, he's not realizing, and maybe he does, being a psychology major. I like Mike McCarthy, but he was also indicting Mike McCarthy, talking about the practices and people not doing their job and what are they doing when they're not at the building. He's talking about the head coach. Mike McCarthy failed. That's why Jerry was so mad. Mike McCarthy failed. Jerry gave him some control, and Mike McCarthy admitted as much. Gave him some control. What did he do with it? He did no more than Kellen Moore. I don't know about you, but if I hand the reins over to you, and you're gonna be out and if you're gonna be all out in the press talking bad about Kellen Moore, yeah, he want to run up the scoreboard. Well, what OC don't want to run up the scoreboard? You're gonna be all out in the press talking about Kellen Moore, and while you're talking about Kellen Moore, you're also talking about the ownership, because they're the ones who hired Kellen Moore, and you're basically putting the ownership on a spot saying, "I should have been calling plays from the beginning." Okay, we're going to give you the play calling. We're going to get rid of Amari Cooper. Oh, and by the way, and we're not going to do you a favor. You want to run out one of the top wide receivers in the league and then think we're going to go and get you another wide receiver? I'm just telling you. We can call Jerry cheap all we want to. Jerry actually went out and got Amari Cooper. And no one's asking. Everybody was just speculating about why he got rid of him. And it's funny to me, Mike Fisher didn't rebut what Bobby Belt said. Nobody's rebutting what he said. That joker ran Amari Cooper out of town, only to think that Jerry was going to give him what he wanted. Oh, well, who do you want? No, I'm not going to give you what you want. Doggone it, you going to run Amari Cooper out of this building? Then you're going to suffer the consequences. You're going to get the play calling, but you're not going to have Amari Cooper. I'm telling you, I understand why Jerry, I don't agree with what he did, because I don't think you sabotage the team because of Mike McCarthy. I still say you do whatever you can do for the team to win, because not only do you want your team to win, but you want the fan base who's supporting the team. You want the fan base to be satisfied. But kind of like Bobby Bell said, and we talked about this during the season, anybody who's been here from the beginning, I said this before I even knew what Bobby Bell said. I said this way back before midseason. It's like we're watching Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy be at war with one another. It's like we were watching them fight each other. in the way that Mike McCarthy was doing certain things, the way he was calling plays, the way he was kind of moving and stuff. It's kind of what it's like to me. It's kind of what we were watching. And Bobby Belt gave us the real truth. That is kind of what we were watching then. It is. Because Jerry gave Mike some things. Y'all better give this man some credit, and it's not letting him off the hook. Two things can be right. Jerry Jones can be a terrible GM. He is a terrible GM. He's not even a GM. Niecy talks about it all the time. He's not a real GM. But we can also admit, now that we're getting some facts, this man gave Mike McCarthy unprecedented control. Has anybody had the type of control Mike McCarthy has had since Jimmy Johnson? Mike McCarthy was up in here ruling some things if you're not paying attention. And I think that's one of the reasons why, to me, this team never felt right. Let me read some of your comments. I'm going to actually go to the middle here. There's so many of y'all in here. It's about 434 comments, so I can't read them all. So I'm going to kind of try to go to somewhere around the mid-pack. So forgive me if I get kind of behind. I'll see if I can catch up with where you are in the comments. Let me start out with about right here. Chanel, what's going on? She said, you can't handle, I love her name. She said, you can't handle the truth. She said, nah, sorry, never that. Deion could never be Jimmy status. Okay, somebody must have mentioned that. She said, and he is a coach who has won a national title in college. Are you talking about Jimmy or Deion? Now, let's think about Deion Sanders. Deion is never going to be able to take the place of Jimmy Johnson, the legend. He'll never be able to take the place of Jimmy Johnson, the legend, because of what Jimmy did. Jimmy literally bought this franchise 3 Super Bowls. Barry Switzer, that was not your Super Bowl. That's probably one of the reasons Barry Switzer doesn't brag about it. I mean, it wasn't his Super Bowl. It was still Jimmy's Super Bowl. But y'all might be encouraged by this. And I'm not even tripping on this whole Deion Sanders thing. I don't think it's going to happen. But I want y'all to think about this. But Jerry knows. If he brings in Deion, it's going to make Jerry do some things. He's going to have to. Deion's not a play caller. He's not a play caller. He's going to have to. If he brings in Deion Sanders, he's going to buy him out $8 million. I don't think Jerry's going to buy him out. But if he does, that's $8 million. Deion's not leaving Colorado without getting paid somewhere around $14, $15, $16 million. So that's already somewhere around a $20 million investment. There will be some naysayers saying this is a publicity stunt. Jerry doesn't want to win. If Deion Sanders comes to the Cowboys, I believe that will put Jerry Jones into prove-it mode. He will probably put a serious staff around Deion Sanders. He will put players around Deion Sanders. I've already told y'all before, there is one Sanders I believe is going to play for the Dallas Cowboys, and it's Shiloh Sanders. I believe Shiloh Sanders will be the fifth round draft pick for the Dallas Cowboys. They got a 5th round grade on him. They're going to probably monitor what the word is on Shiloh. Y'all going to call me a prophet. I'm telling you, I believe that Jerry's going to bring in Shiloh. Jerry also, if he brings in Deion, he's going to try to prove that he was right about Deion. And y'all got to realize something, man. Deion is not going to come here if Jerry can't make some promises to him about winning. Because I'm telling y'all, Deion believes that winning comes with the show. Deion don't like the show without winning. Because Deion is not just about the show. Deion wants to brag about the winning at the show. That's Deion Sanders. Y'all better check this man out when he loses these games in Colorado, man. Deion be on it. Deion does not like losing. Deion already knows the money is already coming to Deion. He prime time, baby. Deion know the money is coming to him. So for Deion, the money is not enough. Deion wants to justify the money. Deion wants to brag about what he's done. He wants to brag about his faith in God and how God has brought him through and how God has brought this to him. Deion wants all that. He wants all of that. So, as many people who are disappointed, hey man, if Deion come in here, Jerry going to have to do some things. But James Hill, I'm like you. I just don't believe Deion is coming. I don't. Willie T said nobody ever said Jimmy said he said the last Super Bowl was Jimmy team and still saying it. Oh, it was. That's why Barry Switzer don't. You don't never hear Barry Switzer talking about this whole thing about Super Bowls. He can't. It was Jimmy's Super Bowl. It was. Chanel. Yeah, Deion ain't coming. I don't. Like I said, this is just Deion. Chanel. Mark my words. I'm waiting on the Colorado announcement. That's all I'm waiting on. I'm just waiting on the Colorado signing. That's it. I'm just waiting on the Colorado signing. Nothing else. Hey, you early, Michelle. What's going on, Michelle Pitt? You early. Now, is your name... Okay. Michelle Pitt. You just wait till tomorrow. We're gonna deal with this tomorrow and Saturday. Man, you better stop this thing with the Rams. I just don't... Hey... We're going to deal with this thing with the Rams. Brandy Mahoney, what's going on? The Rams ain't beating the Eagles. Daniel M. Deion not coming to Dallas. Nah, I don't believe he is either. I don't believe he is either. Nisa said if Kellen has Jalen throw all over the place, Jerry got to Nisa, Jerry done called him Kellen Moore. Hey, Kellen. I need you to throw that game. Yeah, you know how Dan Campbell threw the game last year. y'all remember how Dan Campbell did it? I mean, I'm sorry, not Dan Campbell. Y'all remember how Dan Quinn did it? Kellen, you know how this goes. Remember how Dan Quinn changed up his defense last year at the last minute, ran a defense he hadn't been running all year? Yeah, you know how Dan Quinn did it. I mean, come on. You know you can throw the game without throwing the game, don't you, Kellen? Throw the game. Go out there and show everybody that Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the league. Let him throw it 45 times. I mean, Neezy, if he come out and throw this ball 45 times at the interview with the Cowboys, I'm sorry, something's not right. Something's not right. What's going on, Post Boy? Yeah, something's not right if he come out and throw this ball 45 times. Keith Rivera said Jerry Jones was going to steal the headlines the day before. Hey, man, I believe he is too. In some form or fashion, I think he is too. But I don't think the NFL will be mad. It still brings attention to the NFL. I don't think the NFL will be mad. And I'll tell you this. I think the team, for the sake of the NFL, I think it would be better for the NFL if the Detroit Lions versus either the Baltimore Ravens or the Buffalo Bills. People get tired of seeing the same old thing. For example, I don't know if some of y'all watch wrestling. Roman Reigns was tearing up wrestling. So what did they write into the storyline? You write a defeat. You write a defeat into the storyline of Roman Reigns. Why? Because it gets boring to watch Roman Reigns. I can't believe I'm saying as if this is real, but it's a storyline. It gets boring for Roman Reigns to walk out in the ring, and every time he wrestles, you go, we know he's going to win. It's just, how is he going to win? How are they going to write it for him to win? So you make it more interesting by letting Roman Reigns lose. It's the same thing. A lot of people don't want to see the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl again. And I just wonder what the ratings will be if the Kansas City Chiefs get in the Super Bowl again, especially when a lot of us believe, now hold on a second now, it seemed like the referees have been helping. It seemed like these referees have been helping Kansas City with some of this stuff. So we have to understand, I think for the NFL's sake, it would be better if someone else goes to the Super Bowl. I do. Because if they don't, well, the most exciting thing about the Super Bowl will be the Jerry Jones announcement. I mean, it will be. Because if Patrick Mahomes goes again, it's just going to be boring. It is. It's just going to be boring. Post-board. That's it. Drama. This is it. And watch this. Y'all, don't blame all this on Jerry. At the end of the day, Jerry hasn't been saying a whole lot since he didn't even say anything after the Mike McCarthy thing. He released a statement. It was it was just a regular statement, nothing that really surprised us. Jerry hasn't been saying anything. Everybody else is saying everything. And it's drama. It's not drama. What is Jerry doing wrong in this situation? I mean, I know a lot of people don't like the fact that they've asked Kellen Moore for an interview. But what is Jerry Jones doing wrong in the situation? In actuality, Jerry's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's putting more names, and more names in the hat of people that they're going to interview. And I am actually glad when you look at some of the people they're interviewing. It actually seems like, and for all of us who say the Cowboys won't hire a black coach, I don't know if that's necessarily in the mind of Jerry Jones. But has anybody noticed how many black coaches Jerry Jones now has on the list? If Jerry is only trying to fulfill the Rooney Rule, well, he's going overboard, isn't he? We got the Deion Sanders talk. We got the Robert Saleh interview. We got the Leslie Frazier interview. I'm kind of I don't know about that one, but now they're wanting. It's being reported they're wanting to interview one of the guys from the Philadelphia Eagles. Who's the other guy from the Philadelphia Eagles? Let me see. Let me go down in the chat. Some of y'all maybe can tell me as I'm going down. But they're actually trying to interview another black guy. So the Cowboys are really doing their due diligence, and they're way beyond the Rooney Rule in this. In my opinion, on this, they're literally interviewing quite a few coaches. Victor says, "What's going on, Maldonado?" He says, "Right before the Super Bowl, Jerry." yeah, everybody's saying that. No cap. Deion barely has experience as a college coach. I don't see him working in Dallas. Maybe if he gets more experience first. And this is one of the reasons why if they do get him, they will put a show enough staff around Deion. They're going to insulate Deion if he becomes the coach. Not only will they insulate Deion if he becomes the coach, you better believe they're going to get Deion Sanders some players. Deion will not come to Dallas, y'all. And we got to understand, there is some pluses to me if Deion comes to Dallas, because there is no way Deion Sanders will come here and Jerry do things the way he's been doing them. It ain't going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Freddie says, I'll say it again. Deion would be a publicity ticket selling move, not a Super Bowl winning move. Because I don't believe he can come to Dallas and win the division. I think he can if Jerry does what he's supposed to do. You got to understand what Deion is going to be here. Deion is not going to be a play caller. You got to understand what Jerry's bringing Deion in for. Let's be real. It is going to be a media circus. It will be a media circus. If Deion comes to the Cowboys, the first game, the media will treat it like the Super Bowl. The media from everywhere will be at the first game. And watch this, Deion Sanders, you'll start seeing stars in the press box, NBA players, older NFL players, retired NBA players. You'll be seeing movie stars. They'll be in the press box. Deion will have certain people on the sideline. He'll have players all over the sideline. I'm telling you, it will be a spectacle if he comes here. But number two, let's think about this. In order for Deion Sanders to work, he's not a play caller on either side of the ball. You'll have to get him. You won't even be able to get him mediocre. Jerry will have to put top flight offensive and defensive coordinators around Deion Sanders. And I'll tell you this. Deion Sanders comes to this team. Deion Sanders and Mike Zimmer are bosom buddies. Zimmer will probably stay on this team if Deion becomes the coach. The defense will be solidified because Zimmer will be back if Deion is the coach. Zimmer was on Deion's staff before he comes to Dallas. He'll be on this staff if Deion comes to Dallas. The next question will be the OC. Now, I'm not sure about Kellen Moore making a lateral move. So then the question would be, who would be the OC for Dallas Cowboys and Deion Sanders? There are some pluses to this, whether we're accepting it or not. I'm telling y'all, Deion is not coming here for the show. He's already the show. Deion believes winning comes with the show. And in order for Deion to even function, the Cowboys will have to insulate him. Zimmer will probably be back. The question is, who would be the OC? And for all intents and purposes, other than Ben Johnson, and Ben Johnson is going to I think he's going to get a head coaching job this time. So for all intents and purposes, who other than Kellen Moore? Who is one of the best coordinators in this league right now? Well, whoever that is, you name him, Jerry would probably have to go after him. And the question is, would they want to be in that circus? Keith Beacham. Yes, the NFC East is improved. It's becoming the beast of the East again. But even if it's not Deion Sanders, so somebody's going to have to be able to compete in the NFC. Somebody's going to have to be able to do it. So if Deion can't, and I'm not saying this as in Deion's the man for the job. So y'all tell me, if Deion can't, then who can? Y'all drop it in the chat. Y'all tell me then, who are the coaches that you think can do what you're saying Deion Sanders can do? Because I'm going to push back on this, not advocating for Deion Sanders. But where I am going to push back is right here. What other coach could make Deion Sanders? What other coach could make Jerry Jones do something he hasn't done? What other coach? Name him. Name the coach that comes with the pressure of Deion Sanders. Name the coach. Kellen Moore doesn't bring pressure. Kellen Moore doesn't bring any pressure to Jerry Jones to do anything different. Robert Saleh brings no pressure to Jerry Jones to do anything different. Name the coach. There is no coach that the Cowboys are looking at. There is no coach they're looking at that would make Jerry Jones. And what I mean by make Jerry Jones, so watch this. Cowboys hire Deion Sanders. What do you think the media pressure will be like for the Cowboys to hire him, the best OC available? Because I'm telling you what's going to come along with Deion Sanders. The moment the Cowboys get Deion Sanders, not going to happen. But if it does, you know what they're going to do? Then the media is going to come back with more pressure. Now, here are the offensive coordinator candidates. Here are the defensive coordinator candidates. So we're going to hear that. The pressure will be on Jerry to get him top flight DCOC. Then, guess what the next pressure turns into? Who will they sign? Who will they sign for Deion Sanders? Because this team can't keep doing what they've been doing. You don't think this is going to motivate them to go get Deion Sanders a wide receiver? Motivate them to go get an Ashton Genty or another running back like a Marion Hampton? I mean, this is going to really The pressure will be ratcheted up to 10. I don't even know. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know if Jerry Jones is ready for Deion Sanders to come to Dallas. Y'all are looking at a lot of the negative stuff. Y'all are looking at the cons. When you are weighing out a decision, you got to look at the pros and the cons. Ask yourself this question. Who else? Y'all tell me in the chat. What other coach can put pressure on Jerry Jones to do something different than he's been doing? Tell me the coach. Tell me the coach. James Hill, he said the same thing I've been saying. They owe Dak for as much as they talk to him. Man, Dak ought to be getting royalties. Dak ought to be getting royalties. Brandy said Dak is like they love keeping my name in their mouth. Dak ought to be getting royalties. Dak ought to be getting royalties from these 3-letter and 4-letter networks. He should. Gandalf Pipe said, what's going on? He said, if Dallas get Deion, he said, it'll be hot Atlanta tonight. Hey, Gandalf, more true than you even probably understand. More true than even I understand. Man, it's going to be a media circus. Don't think it's happening. Let me go down a little bit further here. Jesus Rivera, what's going on? Jesus Rivera says, what's going on, Jesus Rivera? Dak is good. He is not elite. I'm a strong fan. Got a helmet, jersey, all that, and for Christmas, all that and still. Yeah. Well, the question is, so if Dak's not elite, who is? Who is? Who's elite if Dak isn't? When you start mentioning the name elite or using that word elite, well, how many quarterbacks are elite? Because if you're telling me there's 5 elite quarterbacks and Dak Prescott is not in there, so now you got to give me the proof. What's the proof of them being elite and Dak Prescott not being the proof? I have to deal in facts for it to make sense to me. What are you dealing in? Because if you're dealing in wins, in the last, 3 seasons, Dak has 36 wins. Tell me the other quarterback who has more than 36 wins, other than maybe Patrick Mahomes. Tell me the quarterback. Tell me the quarterback other than Patrick Mahomes who has not been leading in or in the top 5 in every statistical category. You got to tell me who that quarterback is. You got to tell me the quarterback who has done more with less than Dak Prescott. You have to tell me who that quarterback is. So again, if you're going to say Dak Prescott is not elite, and I'm not going to, if that's your opinion, that's fine. But I can't deal in that. I have to deal in what I'm seeing on the paper, on the tape, and on the statistics. And for everyone who makes that argument, Dak Prescott not top 5, then tell me who is. Not based on your opinion, based on statistics. Because it's the only thing we have to go by, statistics and tape. And even when we look at playoff wins in this run that Dak has been on these last 4 years, minus the injury this year. Okay, who's won more? Even playoff games. A lot of these quarterbacks, the elite quarterbacks, other than Patrick Mahomes, let's take him out of the equation. How many playoff games have they all won in the last four years? How many have they won? Because if we were going by elite, well, Jalen Hurts would probably be elite. Has he not been to the Super Bowl? You don't have to be elite to go to the Super Bowl and win. You do know that, right? Everybody does know this, right? So to say that Dak is not elite, what kind of statement is that? What kind of statement is that? Is Brock Purdy elite? I bet you he don't get an elite contract. We're about to find out about Brock Purdy. Y'all about to see how the 49ers feel about Brock Purdy. Is he elite? When we throw that word around, for me, it's not even a big deal because whether we feel a quarterback is elite or not, that doesn't say that quarterback can't win the Super Bowl. And we start talking about elite. Well, how many quarterbacks are we actually talking about? How many? There are just not many who can carry the name elite. They can't. So to say that Dak Prescott's not elite, I don't even know. Is that really a knock on him? Who is? Lamar Jackson? He just now getting his third playoff win. You call him elite? Okay. So what is it? What has elite got him? One more playoff win. And this season, you want to know why? He's not playing any differently than he's always played. We're watching the same Lamar Jackson. The same thing we're knocking Jalen Hurts for, we're praising Lamar Jackson for. You want to know what the difference is in Lamar Jackson this year versus years past? His name is Derrick Henry. Oh, yeah, his name is Derrick Henry. We're talking about Saquon Barkley. We literally just watched Derrick Henry run for more yards than Lamar Jackson passed for. Let that sink in. Is Lamar Jackson elite? How is Lamar Jackson winning? We've seen this story before. The only thing that's different in the story, and you know what's changing the story? Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is changing the story. So if Lamar Jackson goes to the Super Bowl and win it, is he elite or not? Because before Derrick Henry, he wasn't doing it. The only quarterback, legitimately, that anyone in this league can call elite, legitimately, is Patrick Mahomes. Who else is? Who else is elite in this league? And if you're telling me you're basing it off of something other than the Super Bowl, if you're basing it off of something other than the statistics, if you're basing it off of something other than the wins, if you're basing it off something else, then you got to tell me what it is. Because Dak Prescott has actually checked all of the boxes other than the playoff wins. A lot of these quarterbacks are guilty of the same thing. And Super Bowl appearances, they're guilty of the same thing. Because if we're talking about elite, then are you putting Brock Purdy in there? It's amazing how Brock Purdy looked with Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, it's amazing how he looked. It's amazing how he looked with a running game. Is Jared Goff elite? The Detroit Lions are the number one seed this year. Or is Jared Goff elite? Sean McVay will tell you heck no. And I'm pretty sure many of you will say heck no. But does he have an elite team? See, I'm not worried about being elite. This is the problem with this Cowboys fan base. We're talking about a quarterback. But I'm an old dog. I was around in the 90s. We didn't talk about Troy Aikman like this. And what I mean by talk about Troy Aikman like this, do you realize that when we talked about the Dallas Cowboys, I don't remember anybody, I don't recall anybody talking about Troy Aikman. They were talking about the team, how good the team is. And if anybody really got talked about on this team, it was Emmitt Smith and the offensive line. It's not that people didn't think Troy Aikman was good, but for all of you new to the show, I can't keep doing this over and over again. Well, I can if you want me to. Show me Troy Aikman before Emmitt Smith. Show me Troy Aikman after Emmitt Smith. Show me Troy Aikman after Jimmy Johnson is gone. We don't realize, we're literally arguing Troy Aikman in a 4-year window. That's all we're arguing. We're not arguing Troy Aikman's entire stint with the Dallas Cowboys. You know how I know? Because nobody talks about what he looked like before no one talks about what he looked like before all of those Herschel Walker trades came to fruition. They got Emmitt Smith and some of these other guys, and nobody talks about what Troy Aikman looked like after Jimmy Johnson. He got one Super Bowl after Jimmy, which was still Jimmy team. Tell me what he looked like after 1996 and beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. You want to know why people were arguing that Troy Aikman should not have been a first ballot Hall of Famer? Troy Aikman wasn't an elite quarterback. not by stats. He wasn't an elite quarterback, not by stats. He wasn't an elite quarterback. Even on the terms of the first Super Bowl, Troy showed out. Go look at the other two. It was the regular Troy Aikman. And the regular Troy Aikman is great. Don't get me wrong. Troy Aikman was a great leader of men. But even Troy Aikman will tell you he was blessed to play on an elite team. Nobody was beating that Cowboys team. And Jared Goff, is he elite? We may be watching Jared Goff hoisting the Lombardi. And had his defense not got hurt, I think the Detroit Lions were literally going to walk into the Super Bowl and mop anybody that was on the side of the AFC. The Detroit Lions defense actually equalized. If they get to the Super Bowl, it equalized it. Because I'm telling you now, as much as I think the Philadelphia Eagles are good, let me tell you something. Detroit's defense doesn't get hurt, they mop Philadelphia. I literally think they mop Philadelphia and anybody else on the NFC side. They mop them this year. The Detroit Lions are absolutely loaded. Jared Goff may literally go to the Super Bowl and finally do what Sean McVay got rid of him for, because Sean McVay said he can't win a Super Bowl. Meanwhile, Dan Campbell and that team says, hey, man, we're not worried about. See, we're only worried about a quarterback winning the Super Bowl. Detroit Lions said, we're not worried about Jared Goff winning the Super Bowl. Because we're about to put a team around Jared Goff that can't quit. That's what we're going to put around Jared Goff. And that's what I'm hoping that this Dallas Cowboy team does. Stop buying into the narrative of Dak Prescott. Troy Aikman didn't carry the Dallas Cowboys to the Super Bowl. I know that's going to hurt some of y'all feelings. Troy Aikman did not carry the Dallas Cowboys to the Super Bowl. He did not. The team. Top 10 defense. The team. Players like Darren Woodson. Players like Kevin Smith. The team. Look at the offensive line. It is arguably the best offensive line in history. Can't be argued. Emmitt Smith is the number one back in history. Y'all do know that, right? He is the number one back in history. You can tell me there were some running backs better, but statistically, you can't argue. He got 3 trophies. Elite wide receiver in Michael Irvin. Had Alvin Harper as a compliment. Troy Aikman did not carry the Dallas Cowboys to the Super Bowl. He didn't put them on his back the way we're asking Dak Prescott to be Superman. Troy Aikman was never asked to do that, and Jimmy didn't want him to do it. Jimmy built a team. Jerry allowed Jimmy Johnson to build not an elite quarterback, an elite team. Do we not realize no one called Troy Aikman the best quarterback in the league? Nobody. We never heard these arguments about Troy Aikman. No one ever said it. They were not having the stupid arguments we have today. Okay, top 10 quarterbacks. No one's arguing that. Because if you argue top 10 quarterbacks, Troy Aikman can't even be in the conversation. Because statistically, he wasn't putting up the numbers. And not because he couldn't. He was not required to do it. He wasn't required to do it. And I'm telling y'all, some of y'all built different than me. That's the exact team I want. That's the exact team I want. I want the team where Dak Prescott throws the ball 25 times or less and the Cowboys absolutely stomp teams, just like they did with Troy Aikman. I want them to literally stomp teams with a power run game, Dak Prescott, quality over quantity, going deep 6 to 8 times a game, controlling the clock with the run game, throwing for maybe 2-3 touchdowns a game, and running for 2 or 3 touchdowns a game. I want the Cowboys to go back to that and absolutely start stomping teams, put a defense on the other side of Dak Prescott. If there's a fumble, If there's an interception, if there's a fumble and an interception, if there's 2, if there's 3 interceptions, I want that defense to do what the Houston Texans did this past weekend against the Los Angeles Chargers. Hey, it don't matter. You turn the ball over, we still gonna win. That's what I want. The quarterback talk for me is irrelevant. Troy said, "Is Mike Fisher writing your titles now?" I don't know. I mean, it was the only title that I thought that made sense. Is Dak coming to Dallas? I don't know. Was that Mike Fisher's title? I don't know. I didn't even look at the title there. I was asleep. I woke up on half of what he was saying. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Joseph says, yes, sir. What's going on, Looney Cabal? He said facts. Ice cold Cowboy. Nobody talks about the Saints, Jets, Bears head coach jobs. They just do it about the Cowboys. Exactly. Nobody's interested in those other jobs. And let me tell y'all something about Mike McCarthy, Ice Cold Cowboy. Mike McCarthy is about to fade into obscurity. Mike McCarthy is about to fade into obscurity. At least that's my opinion. What team can Mike McCarthy go to that he's really going to make an impact the way I guess somebody thinks? I'm actually not going to be surprised if he doesn't have a job. Janie said all the haters who hate Dak are jealous and keep his name out. They keep them in limelight to trying to make lies sound true. And I'm telling you, Dak Prescott on any other team doing what he's doing, insanity. They would be loving this man. Chris Jones said this guy's the reason why people hate the people hate the Cowboy fans. Well, if you're talking about me, I don't know. That can't be true because I just got on YouTube doing this about 3 or 4 months ago. Can't be true if you're talking about me. Jameson Taylor, what's going on? Freddie said, regardless, I say that solid if you can't find someone better, but for the love of God, stay away from Deion. Boy, you don't want Deion, do you? You know what? I'm not advocating for Deion. I'm just telling y'all, just keep in your mind, there is something that comes along with Deion. Deion is different. He doesn't want the show without winning. And Deion Sanders, y'all, as much as we're saying we don't want Deion, Deion could be the very one. Jerry will typically give Deion what he wants. Jerry may be the very one. I mean, Deion may be the very one that makes Jerry do something different. Because again, as I get down in the chat, y'all answer the question again if you can. That if Deion, because I believe Deion will make Jerry do something different. So who else can make Jerry do something different? Who else? No cap. He says, the NFL been doing just fine, and Dallas hasn't even been to the NFC Championship, so I don't know about the NFL needing them to win. Oh, I think they do. And they make more money off Dallas collapsing in the playoffs. Yeah, I agree with you on that to a degree. But, again, think about this, no cap. That story is getting old. The Dallas Cowboys failing is getting old, man. It is. This is why the stories around the Cowboys, they just keep getting more and more sensational. Why? Losing. The Cowboys losing is getting old. Somewhere in there, Jerry and the NFL are going to have to throw in a wrinkle. They are. Jameson, what's going on? You're at Emory Hospital. Emory where? No cap says nobody wants Dallas to win. Yeah, there's some of us. Oh no, there's a lot of us who want. There's a lot of us who want Dallas to win. No cap, we do. It's just not happening. Yeah, there are a lot of people that want the Cowboys to win. As much as there are people who want them to lose, there's some that want us to win. Mariah Carey's friend club. It's not true. You said Dak can't win. Explain 36 wins in 3 seasons. That's not true. Ice Cold says, have Dak jersey. My son has Mahomes, his favorite team. Hey, I'm telling you, man, Dak's pretty popular. He really is. Okay. Sounds like things are going pretty good, though, right? The NFL needs a Cowboy quarterback to win. Now, see, we're not saying this correctly. Dak is winning. If you look at Dak's wins and losses, even versus Troy Aikman. The thing that's separating them are, and let's not just say the Super Bowls, what's separating Dak and Troy are the teams that they've played on. The teams they've played on. Because I'm telling us, the only quarterback we keep trying to compare Tony Romo and Dak Prescott to is one Troy Aikman, which isn't a fair comparison. Troy Aikman had a super team. You can tell me any team that either one of these quarterbacks have had around them. They've never had the team. In no universe, they've never had the team that Troy Aikman had around him. Heck, there are other quarterbacks on other teams that have never had the team that Troy Aikman had around him. We're still talking about a 4-year stint with Troy Aikman when he had Jimmy Johnson, second highest paid coach in the league, high paid staff around Troy Aikman, players from the Herschel Walker trade all around Troy Aikman that came to fruition in 92. We do not understand what we're comparing. Dak Prescott's offensive performances pale. I mean, they put Troy Aikman can't hold a candle to some of the offensive performances that Dak Prescott has had. I know that's going to make some of y'all mad. And it's not because Troy Aikman was not great. Y'all are missing the point on this discussion, what I'm saying to you about Troy. It's because he was not required to do it. He was not required to do it. He didn't have to. Jimmy didn't want the team ran like that. Jimmy did not want the team centered around Troy Aikman. It wasn't. I don't care if that hurts y'all's feelings. I hope you can appreciate the truth. We have built two teams the wrong way. We have made the quarterback, and don't get me wrong, the quarterback is the most important, I guess, position on the field. But the problem is we've built teams, and let's not even say we built teams around the quarterback. We've just basically said that the quarterback, it's either him or bust. We haven't done a great job of building a team around the quarterback, but we've always said the quarterback or bust. And for everyone who says, oh, that's an excuse, you're not being honest. I'm giving you facts, you just don't want them. The reason why I know this to be true is not because of what I'm watching the Dallas Cowboys do. The reason why I know this is true is because of the trend of what I'm watching all of the playoff games, all the playoff teams do, and the playoff teams did. What did they all do? They all had a high-paid quarterback, with the exception of the Minnesota Vikings. But I think the Minnesota Vikings actually benefited from an easier schedule. They got some great players on the team, but at the same time, they were probably not, well, they wound up being exactly where they were supposed to be. What, the number 5 seed? And they got knocked off. They're not built like the top echelon of those teams. The Philadelphia Eagles, they put players around Jalen Hurts. They're not listening to you. They're not listening to us. For all of us who keep saying Jalen Hurts is a running back playing quarterback. Okay, so they say, okay, so Jalen Hurts is a running back playing quarterback. He's our quarterback. So let's not complain about what he can't do. What can we do to nullify what he doesn't do? Let's get him 2 wide receivers. Check. Let's get him a tight end. Check. Let's get him an offensive line. Check. Let's get him not a top 10 defense. They're the number 1 ranked defense. Check, 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 check. What can we do to do something different than the year we went to the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts? What can we do different? How about a high-octane run game? Not a regular run game, a high-octane run game. Let's get him Saquon Barkley. See how they look now? Sean McVay threw Jared Goff in the trash. Got Matthew Stafford. It's amazing, even what they did with Matthew Stafford. What did they do? They built a super team around Matthew Stafford. They got that Super Bowl, and then it fell apart. Let's think about the Detroit Lions. What did they do? Oh, we'll take your trash. We'll take Jared Goff. Everybody says Jared Goff is not elite. Who will argue that Jared Goff is elite? Who will argue that Jared Goff is elite? But I tell you what he does have. The same thing Troy Aikman had in the 90s. Jared Goff has an elite team. I think the Detroit Lions, healthy, defense and all. The Detroit Lions, not as good as that 90s team. No, not saying that. But they may have been one of the closest things we had seen in a long time. Because Jared Goff, no one's saying he's elite, but he has an elite team. Run game, check. Insane head coach, check. OC, Ben Johnson, check. Great DC, Aaron Glenn, check. Top 10 defense, at least they were. Check. Outside receivers, slot receivers, check. Tight end, check. 2 running backs, check. Offensive line, check. We're still running around here arguing about Dak Prescott, and other teams are leaving us in the dust with quarterbacks that are not even as good as Dak Prescott. They're not even as good as Dak Prescott, and they're leaving us in the dust. Because we have still failed to build a team around a quarterback. Let me read this super chat. I'm sorry I didn't see this. Jay Recruiter. I'm with you, Jay Recruiter, on this. Jared will not have any problem making Deion the highest paid coach. I don't think he would either. It's going to pay dividends. He knows he will get back more than enough. I'm wondering, though, if he'll do the buyout and make him the highest paid coach. I'm just wondering if he'll do that. Let me read some more of your comments here. Willie T, Bobby Bell is Jerry Jones' mouthpiece. See, but let me clarify something for you, Willie T. I appreciate what you're saying. What you're saying is true. But 2 things can be true. That's the part people don't like. This is the cold hard facts, Willie T. Just because he's Jerry Jones' mouthpiece doesn't make what he said a lie. And Mike Fisher, the trusted Cowboy reporter, has all but verified everything Bobby Belt said. He verified it. He said it was a great piece that Bobby Belt did. And then came back, and I've never heard him say this, and you said they fired him. And again, you were wrong on that, Willie T. You still hadn't said you were wrong on it. They didn't fire Kellen Moore. He left on his own because of Mike McCarthy and his junk, the same reason why Dan Quinn considered leaving. It was Jerry Jones who kept on telling Dan Quinn, no, stay. Mike's a shrewd operator. Mike McCarthy is a shrewd operator. And just because Bobby Belt doesn't like Mike McCarthy, guess what? It doesn't change when he's telling the truth. Willie T, you disagree with me. It doesn't mean I'm not telling the truth. I've already proven you to be wrong on multiple occasions. You just don't like to admit it. That doesn't mean because you don't agree with me, I'm not telling the truth when I'm showing you receipts. Bobby Belt brought receipts. And no one has disputed what he's saying. Only the folk who don't like Bobby Belt, who are actually, think about it's an oxymoron. They're saying stuff like, well, how does he know? Well, how do you know? So if you don't know how he know, how do you get the question how he know? He's a Cowboy insider, doggone it. He's doing a show with Brian Broaddus, who everyone knows used to work for the Dallas Cowboys and is deep in the Cowboy system. And we're doubting, this man's got sources. I'm telling you, some of the stuff that he was saying, some of that stuff is actually Brian Broaddus, I guarantee you. Guarantee you. But I still appreciate you. Willie T. You have some good things to say. Kevin Howard says, Mike McCarthy is gone now. We can move on. Oh, yeah, I'm so glad. I almost threw a party and invited you, Kevin. Robert M31, McCarthy basically admitted to lying to get the job. Yep, he did. He told Jerry he studied analytics 20 years out of football. He laughed, but said it wasn't true. You better believe it wasn't true. Man, Willie T said, if you're using your logic, there's no way in hell you think Kellen Moore's any good. Willie T, I'm not advocating for Kellen Moore to be the head coach. How can you say Kellen Moore is not any good? We're giving Mike McCarthy credit for the wins that Kellen Moore got despite Mike McCarthy. Kellen Moore put up video game numbers with Dak Prescott in the story. He did better. I didn't even realize it until I started doing some studying on it. Justin Herbert did better with him. But the issue is Justin Herbert actually keeps getting head coaches fired. And Harbaugh better be careful. Harbaugh is going to be the next casualty of one Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert has went through coaches and OCs, and he is going through them like cheese through a cheese grater. Who's going to be the right coach for Justin Herbert? But now you look at Kellen Moore. Here he is again. And now he's with the Philadelphia Eagles. They're winning. I mean, Saquon Barkley, you better believe Saquon Barkley helps a lot, but also they got a team. And Kellen Moore is operating within the confounds of the team. He's doing a great job of that. I mean, it can't be denied. I'm not advocating for him for the head coach. I want the Cowboys to do something totally different. I want them to do something totally different. I would like for them to just say, we're not going to bring in anybody we've known before. We're going to bring in the best of the best, and we're going all in. I'm not really a fan of the retreads. I'm not. Ice Cold, you better believe it. He got toys. Kellen Moore got toys, man. And he's looking even a lot better with them toys. He is. Deion Sanders would be a Fully Colorado. I think so too, Tony. They treat college coaches like royalty. And he gets all the control of Colorado. But I'm telling you, Tony, Deion, I'm waiting on the announcement. Deion Sanders signs an extension with the Colorado Buffaloes, and it's going to be massive. I'm waiting on it. Troy says, who is going to be Deion's staff? He does not have NFL staff contacts. I know, and that's going to be the issue. Troy, they're going to have to put a serious staff around him, which is anybody. They're going to have to put a staff around him. But I think they will definitely have to insulate Deion Sanders. Ice Cold Cowboy. I could call plays for that stacked offense. Well, I tell you this, we're going to see. We're not going to see if it's you going to be able to do it. But if Kellen Moore winds up leaving, we're going to see if somebody else can do it. But at the same time, I'm not going to knock a man. People would say the same thing about Phil Jackson. People would say the same thing about a lot of people. But Jordan wasn't winning before Phil got there. Not championships. I mean, man, coaching matters. And CeeDee Lamb, I read the article this morning, CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. I mean, CeeDee Lamb talked about how Kellen Moore really helped him with his game. Lining him up at the 2, lining him up at the 3, then putting him on the outside, putting him in motion. I mean, he basically said that Kellen Moore taught him the game. Can't take nothing away from him. I can't. Sometimes you just get the perfect storm. Yeah, we're going to see if he wants Kellen Moore back. I don't disagree with it, but we're going to see if he wants him back. Alvin Richardson, what's going on? Man, I'm wondering too, what is going on with Al Harris? I just don't know how long they can keep Al Harris. Somebody going to come knocking on the door for Al Harris. I do believe that to be true. Chris Jones, 12-19. You just answered the question. We couldn't score enough. The defense did their part. Yeah, the defense did a really good job. But I'm going to tell you what the championship defenses will tell you, Chris Jones. The championship defenses will tell you we actually didn't do enough. And someone will say, why? Because they won the game. The goal of the defense, and I know we say this a lot because even I say it. What more can you ask a defense? This is the question we ask sometimes, right, Chris? What more can we ask of the defense if they hold a team like the 49ers to 19 points? We're all going to have to change the way we think. You want to know what more they could have done? Held them to 0 points. We do know that the object of the game is not to actually say if we hold them below 20 points. Because if we're saying if we hold them below 20 points, we just set a barrier for our own psyche. Because if I say, well, what if we hold them to 20 points? Well, what if they get 21 points? Do we open the floodgates? Does our disposition, our countenance fall? What if they get 19 points? Is 19 and 20 the same thing? Is 1 point going to be that big of a difference? The goal is simple. The goal is for them not to score a point today. And when you build defenses like the Bears and the Baltimore Ravens have done in the past, you can literally go in games saying no touchdowns. You can literally go in the game saying that, no touchdowns. And it ain't about if. There will be no touchdowns by this team today. They better not get in the end zone. You can literally go in with those mentalities. Oh, they got in the end zone? They won't get in again. You got coaches and players that can do and pull out these things. But I'm with you. I'm not poo-pooing what you're saying. Yes, 19. And with the way the Cowboys were scoring that season, 19, if you would have told me they held the San Francisco 49ers to 19 points, I would have told you we won the game. But then if you would have told me that Tony Pollard went out with a broke leg, I would have told you, we're probably not going to win that game. The 49ers were too good. They were too good for us to go in with an all-out passing attack. They were just too good. They were just too good. But I want you to think about this, Chris. You know, you talk about that game. I'm still dumbfounded by this. I do not understand. I understand. I'm just having a hard time grasping it. This is the game before the San Francisco 49er game. This is the game. They mollywopped the Buccaneers. They mollywopped them. Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott had the perfect game plan. The stats are astounding. This playoff performance by Dak Prescott was absolutely incredible. It was incredible. To only come back the following week and this was the game plan. Now, I don't think this was the game plan. I do think what changed the game, and we had no answer for it, what changed the game was Tony Pollard. Ezekiel Elliott was not capable of making up for Tony Pollard. Zeke had already fell off the cliff by this time. Boss Cowboy, he wasn't washed. I know Boss Cowboy not on here, but Boss Cowboy, he don't like when you say Zeke was washed. Zeke wasn't washed, but he was in the washing machine. He was definitely in the washing machine. He was 10 for 26. You just gotta help me out here. I don't think we're realizing something. You're not beating, and they were not going to beat the San Francisco 49ers. Let me give us the history. They're not beating the San Francisco 49ers with 18 carries, and I'm not including Dak Prescott. 18 carries for 54 yards. They were not beating the San Francisco 49ers with that. They were not. Now, you look at Tony Pollard, 6 for 22, versus Ezekiel Elliott, 10 for 26. You don't think we missed Tony Pollard once he went out the game? They were already trying to include Tony Pollard even in the... They were saying that Tony Pollard was going to be... They were going to get a full dose of Tony Pollard, run game and passing game. Tony Pollard was 2 for 11. They took out a major part. They took out a major part of the offense. They took out a major part of the game plan. And so the question begins, how were the Cowboys? How were the Cowboys with the active running backs on the field at that time? What do the Cowboys do to make up for Tony Pollard? The only thing they can do. Now you're going to have to start doing this dumb stuff right here. I'm telling y'all, throwing the ball 37 times is too much. It's just doggone too much. This is not what you want to do. You do not want to do this against the 49ers. You don't want to do this. You're going to risk more. There's more chances for mistakes. You're putting the ball in the air 37 times. But guess what? Look back at this. The question is, did Kellen Moore have a choice? Was Zeke going to be able to make up for it? Because we saw Zeke not only in one performance, I believe, against the 49ers. We saw Zeke in 2 performances against the 49ers, and Zeke was absolutely useless. So you know what we wound up doing? Y'all can love this or hate it. We put the entire game on Dak Prescott's shoulders. And I know, we want him to be Superman. Dak Prescott is not beating the San Francisco 49ers team. He's not doing it. Dak's not beating that team. Dak is only one man. He was not beating that team. And while the defense held them to 19 points, where is the offensive production going to come from other than Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb? Where is it going to come from? The San Francisco 49ers defense, it would be hard to stop CeeDee Lamb from eating. But all of these other receivers, come on, man. Look who we in. No one even wants to talk about this. Look who we up in this game with. We up in this thing with Noah Brown. Stop it. Anybody talking about Noah Brown? Stop it. We up in this thing with T.Y. Hilton. Come on, man. How old is T.Y. Hilton at this time? Dak and T.Y. Hilton don't even have chemistry. And how late it was that T.Y. Hilton actually kind of came on. Your wide receivers outside of CeeDee Lamb, do y'all not realize we never recovered from Mike McCarthy pushing out Amari Cooper? We never recovered. We never recovered. What were we going to do with T.Y. Hilton and Noah Brown against San Francisco 49ers? I know what we wanted. We wanted Dak Prescott to throw the ball to CeeDee Lamb for another 200 yards. I'm sorry, the San Francisco 49ers were not allowing that. They just were not allowing it. And we don't realize it. We don't like to accept these truths because Tony Pollard going out of the game. If you don't think this affected the game, look at the time of possession. And if you don't think Tony Pollard going out of the game affected this number, Dak Prescott turns around and throws the interception right after Tony Pollard goes out of the game. What does Kellen Moore do? Zeke just wasn't in it. Zeke is on the team for contract purposes at this point in time. What do? See, sometimes when we're talking about a lot of these games and stuff, it's good that once we get out of our feelings, go back and watch some of this stuff. Go back and look at the stats. Go back and look at the stats. Go back and look at the stats. Go back and watch the game. I subscribe to NFL.com, and you can go back. You can go back and watch games and stuff like that. Or you can find this stuff on the NFL Network and different places. You go back and watch the game. Go back and watch those games. Just go back and watch them. And watch them with a different mindset, and you'll realize something. We were really in trouble in those games. We went in against teams who were better than us. You don't believe me? These teams were better than us? So I want you to look at this. We got Dak Prescott, Zeke, Tony Pollard. We got CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz, Noah Brown, T.Y. Hilton. I don't care what y'all telling me. This offensive lineup outside of CeeDee Lamb, it's a joke. Dalton Schultz was running around here touting that he was a top 5 tight end and wanted top 5 tight end money. Has anybody noticed since he left Dallas he hasn't been a top 5 tight end? I've watched Dalton Schultz with the Houston Texans drop pass after pass after pass after pass. Doesn't mean that he's not good, but Dalton Schultz is nowhere what he thought he was. I'm not talking about what people thought he was. He's nowhere where he thought he was. They rank Dalton Schultz in 3rd-tier tight ends now in NFL rankings. That was just this year. He was ranked as a 3rd-tier tight end. So tell me, who do you have on this team other than CeeDee Lamb at this point in time? When Tony Pollard goes down, who do you have? No different than we were against Green Bay. CeeDee Lamb a bust. Who do we have other than CeeDee Lamb? So let's go to the other side. So we got Brock Purdy. Strange, isn't it? Brock Purdy was 19 to 25, 214 yards, 0 TDs. Kyle Shanahan was smart. I remember that game like yesterday. Kyle Shanahan, while the Dallas Cowboys did a great job of stopping the run, stopping what they could, you still got to look at what they did. Look at how many times Kyle Shanahan ran the ball. Kyle Shanahan, 24, 28, 29. Kyle Shanahan was still coming with the run attack on the Dallas Cowboys, even if it wasn't as successful as he wanted it to be. I've told y'all before, you don't run the ball to have a dominant run game. That's a plus. You run the ball to dominate the game. You can dominate games. You know, the pass game is great. The pass game, man, it's one of them things where you get a quick gash somebody, a quick gash. But a running game, it demoralizes teams. You break teams down with run games. You break them down to the point to where you can get a big play, to where you can get in that range to where you can score a touchdown, or you get in that range to where you can score field goals. And so you think about what they did to the Cowboys. But if you ask me, which one of these lineups are you taking? Brock Purdy, Elijah Mitchell, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. So you're telling me the Dallas Cowboys offensive lineup was better than the San Francisco 49ers? San Francisco 49ers were better than the Cowboys. They were that. They were. Not just that day. No, they were a better team than the Cowboys. I mean, you just go down the line on even their defensive players. I mean, they were a better team. And the problem is we had no room for error. We had no room for error. We didn't. And there's no denying it. Dak Prescott made some errors. But we have to understand something. Let's give it some context. Tony Pollard going down actually put the Cowboys in a situation that they didn't want to be in. They actually didn't want to be in the situation they were in, but they got in it. Context matters. People do not understand sometimes how players going down or players can change an entire, a player going out in a critical game, change the whole game. Because sometimes there's just no answer for that player that goes down. There's no answer. How do you answer in the second quarter? I think it was when Tony Pollard went down. How do you answer with no one on the with no personnel on the team? Oh, okay. Well, then we'll just let we're gonna let so and so take Tony. Who takes Tony Pollard's place? Who takes Tony Pollard's place? So now we're going to let Dak throw the ball 37 times in a game where we probably shouldn't have had Dak Prescott throwing the ball 37 times. But with Tony Pollard going out, what choice do you have? I'm just giving you the real. You don't have to accept it. Richard said people have forgotten Kellen was going on interviews while we were in the Super Bowl run. So what's the difference about this time? Yeah, you know what you think about this? Richard, I talked about this before. We don't realize it, but Kellen Moore has actually been in the discussion for head coaches ever since he left the Cowboys. He's been in the discussion every single time. And it's only a matter of time. If the Cowboys don't get Kellen Moore is going to be a head coach somewhere else. Tony Simmons, what's going on? Yeah, but you know what? Tony Simmons. So, I've been thinking about this. So you're saying that Kellen Moore is predictable, right? Dan Orlovsky said that Kellen Moore calls routes, his route concepts and his plays. He said that Kellen Moore's route concepts, that the DBs can actually sit on the routes of Kellen Moore and make plays on the ball. So again, for all of the Dak Prescott haters, we're saying that Kellen Moore actually isn't that good of a play caller. Or at least Tony is saying that he's boring as a play caller, right? So explain to me again, how did Dak Prescott and Kellen Moore put up video game numbers? Explain it to me. And I don't mean that in a rude way. I'm just saying. So how good must Dak Prescott be then? Somebody is going to have to tell me, why is Dak Prescott still the common denominator? Kellen Moore, Mike McCarthy, not a good play caller. Kellen Moore, not a good play caller. Jason Garrett, not a good play caller. How does Dak Prescott continue to be successful with all three of those coaches? Explain it to me. How in the world, with everything you said, Tony, how did Dak Prescott, how did he put up video game numbers? This is amazing to me. It's absolutely astounding to me when you think about how did he do it then? We keep saying all these things around Dak Prescott. Somebody's got to explain to me, how is he putting up the numbers and the wins? If Kellen Moore's offense is that predictable, if it's where Dan Orlovsky says that the DBs can sit on the routes and easily come up and make plays on the ball. So explain to me, how in the world has Dak Prescott been doing what he's doing then? How's he been doing it? I don't understand. How is he doing it if we're saying all of these things? I showed y'all this article today. How did Dak Prescott pull this off with Kellen Moore? How did he do it? How did he do it? This is insane to me. 2022, 26.4 points per game, 355 yards per game, 5.4 yards per play. Red zone percentage, 71% with Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore walked out the door, and the red zone percentage, not only last year, but the red zone percentage this year, absolutely atrocious. I don't understand it. And Dak Prescott is throwing the ball they're only running the ball 37% of the time. McCarthy said he wanted to run the ball. He only ran the ball 37% of the time. Time of possession went up, but everything else went down. How did Dak Prescott pull this off? You don't have to advocate for Dak Prescott to understand that I think that some of the things that we keep saying are not factual. They're just not factual. How did Dak Prescott do all of this stuff? How was he doing all of this stuff? It don't make sense to me. And if you think about it, I think one of the things that's attractive about Kellen Moore to Jerry Jones, for as much as anyone says about Kellen Moore, he's not this and he's not that. Well, for every time you say that, when you look back at what it looked like with Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott, they were only number two to Patrick Mahomes. They were only number two. And for as bad as we say they were in those 2 years, they won a playoff game, 12-19 in another playoff game. We're literally acting like that Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott, even with Tony Pollard going down, lost the game 12-19. We're acting like they went and got blew off the field like they did against the Green Bay Packers. The Cowboys against the Green Bay Packers with Mike McCarthy calling the plays, they looked like absolute garbage. You want to know why Jerry Jones was mad? They looked like garbage. Absolute garbage. And again, I just showed you in 4K. You might not be realizing this. This player issue isn't brand new. This player issue isn't brand new. I just gave you the players that Dak Prescott was playing with for all you people who keep saying Dak Prescott had a great team around him. So you're telling me in 2022, Dak Prescott has a great team around him? So he has a great team around him. When I look at the wide receiving core, you telling me this is a great wide receiving core. This right here. CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz, Noah Brown, T.Y. Hilton. Tony Pollard was great. Kevontae Turpin was great, but they're not even using Kevontae Turpin because Mike McCarthy, as a part of his MO, what did they say when they fired him in Green Bay? Doesn't know how to use his weapons. Kevontae Turpin was in that game. He had 1 for 8. You can tell me anything you want to. Mike McCarthy, even until this day, has still not used Kevontae Turpin correctly. I'm telling y'all, Kevontae Turpin is a restricted free agent. We better hope this man don't go nowhere else. Kevontae Turpin goes somewhere else, and we're going to be hearing this man's name like Trey Songz. Kevontae Turpin should have been being used by the Dallas Cowboys. They were not using him. They didn't turn to Kevontae Turpin. They didn't figure out how to work him into this game. Look at what they went into that playoff game with. You're telling me you're putting that up against the San Francisco 49ers. You're telling me that's what you're putting up against them. CeeDee Lamb, super stud. Below CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz, Noah Brown, T.Y. Hilton. Come on, man. Somebody got to be honest in here. Somebody got to be honest in here. Somebody got to do it. Somebody got to tell the truth, and I'm going to tell it. You can tell me anything you want to about that game, but if you're telling me you're taking this, I'll beat you with Brock Purdy every single Sunday. If you're telling me you're bringing Dak Prescott in with this, I'll beat you every single Sunday. Especially if you tell me that Tony Pollard is going to break his leg in the second quarter. I'm going to beat you every single time. I'm going to beat you every single time. We don't look at this stuff the right way. We just think it's Dak Prescott. He should just do it all on his own. Nah, man, I'm not going to let us get away with this. No. The 49ers were better than us in this game. Period in the story. They were better than us. And I'm going to show you another stat that you might not like about this San Francisco 49er game. So when you think about this game on this side of the field, so now you got to answer me this. So you're telling me that the defense did well, and I'm not going to argue per se that the defense didn't do well. 199 yards passing, which is to be expected. Kyle Shanahan understands who Brock Purdy is at this point in time. He wasn't going to make a lot of risks. 113 yards rushing, 312 yards altogether. So now you got to tell me this. So as good as the defense did, as someone said, so you're telling me that we can't turn over Brock Purdy? So we got one fumble. We couldn't get an interception? We couldn't get an interception. Brock Purdy actually put the ball in the air 29 times. And you're telling me we couldn't get one interception on Brock Purdy? See, we got to be careful when we start patting ourselves on the back, talking about who did this and who did that, and they did good enough. I remember, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I remember, it might have been Michael Parsons who said it. They said y'all did enough, and he said, no, we didn't. We lost the game. If it wasn't him, someone else said it. Michael Parsons actually said Dak should be able to have 2 turnovers, and we still got his back on this and win the game. I agree with him, 1,000%. I agree with him. But again, y'all can tell me anything y'all want to. But if you're telling me this is what I'm going into the playoffs with, I blame Jerry. I blame Jerry. And do y'all know we still doing this same mess? Y'all keep talking about Dak Prescott. I'm not talking about Dak Prescott. I'm talking about the fact that Jerry don't build teams. And this is why Mike McCarthy did one of the worst things he could ever do. He was dumb for running out Amari Cooper. I don't care what Amari Cooper is saying in the locker room. You're dumb for running off Amari Cooper because you had something that most people don't get with the Dallas Cowboys in a long time. Man, you had 2 wide receivers. You went into, and it's amazing to me, Dak Prescott did this to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dak Prescott, 30 points on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with this. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were not the San Francisco 49ers. And you were not rolling up on the San Francisco 49ers with this. What? Noah Brown had already cost them a game earlier against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Dak Prescott threw the ball in the perfect spot for Noah Brown against the Jacksonville Jaguars, only for Noah Brown to go down and tip the ball up and they get a pick 6 and win the game. Oh, we blame that interception on Dak Prescott too. Y'all are not being honest. If you're telling me that you think that this was actually a good matchup against the San Francisco 49ers offensively, y'all not being honest. And with Tony Pollard going down. Now, so what I just showed you with the lineup that the Dallas Cowboys have. Now, scratch out Tony Pollard. And now you're left with Dalton Schultz, Noah Brown, T.Y. Hilton, and Kevontae Turpin. And Michael Gallup. That's what you're left with. Ezekiel Elliott. This is what you're left with without Tony Pollard. You're telling me that's beating somebody. I'm not buying it. It's not beating anybody. This is one of the reasons why in this coaching search, I want the Cowboys to start back focusing on building a team. They got to build a team around Dak Prescott the way all these other teams are doing. The team that goes to the Super Bowl on the side of the NFC, they're going because they built a team around their quarterback. End of story. Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts. I don't think you'll get many people that'll argue that any one of those quarterbacks other than Kyle and Cowherd. You're not going to get a lot of people that's going to tell you that Jalen Hurts and Jared Goff are better than Dak Prescott. You're just not going to get a lot of people going to say that. But I can tell you what we can say with no argument. We can say with no argument, the Philadelphia Eagles have a 10 times better team around Jalen Hurts than the Dallas Cowboys, and the Detroit Lions have a 15 times better team around Jared Goff. We cannot argue those 2 points. You can tell me anything you want to, but you cannot argue those 2 points. They're factual, and they can't be argued. The Dallas Cowboys do not have a team nowhere near as good as those teams. Let me go down a little bit more. Troy up in the crib, what's going on? Daniel says, hey, G, I bet you Shiloh Sanders could be a dang good safety for the Cowboys if we cut Wilson. Oh, I believe, I've already said it. Shiloh is coming to the Cowboys. I'll be shocked if he doesn't. Even without this team getting Deion Sanders, I believe Jerry is going to get Shiloh Sanders in the 5th round. Thank God we don't have a 4th round. I wouldn't be surprised if Jerry just did it out of a favor for Deion in the 4th. But I think Jerry is going to get Shiloh Sanders in the 5th. I'll be shocked if he doesn't. I do. Yep, Troy, I agree with you. For sure. Andre Mosley, I keep telling people the same thing. Deion likes to win. Deion loves to win. He does. Michelle, yeah, I already said it. He's drafting Shiloh. He's not going to be able to get a hold of Shador. He's getting Shiloh, though. Shiloh is going to be easy pickings. He's got a 5th round. He's got a 5th round grade. I don't think anyone's going to touch Shiloh other than Jerry. Let's go down a little bit further here. 70s fan. He said, I'm thinking about using my real name on YouTube. I know it's not a problem with it. Just be careful. Yeah, Nisi, I'm laughing. She said if Jalen throws it 30 times by halftime, you got to go live. I'm going live. If Jalen Hurts throws the ball 30 times by halftime, no doubt about it, I am definitely going live. Yes, sir. Jose Quevedo. Man, my son walks around here all the time, man. Grown man talking about my tribal chief. Man, y'all be tripping with this wrestling stuff. Let me go down a little further so y'all can help me catch up. Oh, Willie T. Okay, you giving some good context right here. Okay, according to James Slater, Deion was met with resistance from Colorado. Boy, this is crazy. Deion was met with resistance from Colorado AD when Deion asked for more money for the NIL and staff. Deion playing checkers. Deion playing chess, I'm telling you. Ice Wall Cowboy, you agreeing with me? People are talking about the drama behind this. Jerry is not saying a word. Jerry is not tipping his hand on none of this stuff, Ice Wall Cowboy. None. He's not tipping his hand. This is why, I think everyone is in such suspense. They have no clue what Jerry's going to do. They have no clue what Jerry's going to do. They don't. And I think everybody think it's going to be Kellen Moore. Y'all might be shocked. Oh, yeah, he would hire Deion in a minute. Y'all might be shocked who Jerry picks. I'm telling you. Don't be so quick. That's why I'm telling everybody. Calm down on the Kellen Moore stuff. These are all formalities right now. Calm down. I know the Cowboy fan base loves to get in the frenzy. Let's calm down. Let's just wait and see. Because when I look at the candidates for the Dallas Cowboys coaching job, I'm dumbfounded. This is why every time somebody asks me, I'm like, I really don't know. I know Jerry wants Jason Witten on the staff. I know that part, but as far as the head coach, I'm dumbfounded. Jerry is being so quiet on this, which I think he should be. Troy Altizer. To me, this is why I brought up the whole thing about the video game numbers of Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott. Y'all think about it. Mike McCarthy is the one who broke that up. Mike McCarthy broke that up. What happens if Kellen Moore does come back? What happens if Kellen Moore does come back? What does the team look like? I mean, he broke that up. Let me go down a little further. I want to get into the talk of see if y'all got some responses on the coach they could bring in that would make Jerry make a move. And what I said about the San Francisco 49ers game. Okay, here we are. So, I'm sure this is in the question of what I asked about who could they bring in to make Jerry change his mind. Ron Simmons. Let me go back to R.M. Clough. I hadn't seen you before. Welcome to the channel. He says bring in Wes Phillips as OC. I'm not familiar with who that is. Ron Simmons says nobody. I agree. Wait. There is one person. Hold on. Nobody. Let's see what someone else says. I think someone else said it. Someone else says no one. Ice Wall says no one. Here it is. 03. Maybe Ben Johnson. He's the only one, and I don't even think he's close to Deion, but I think he's the only other one that would not let it be, quote unquote, business as usual with this team. I think that Ben Johnson and Deion Sanders, because Ben Johnson would have to do something with Ben Johnson, because y'all might not remember this, but I was saying that if I got signed with the Cowboys, for me, I would put in a prenuptial agreement like people do in these marriages. I would put in my contract, Jerry, you got to get, every year I'm here, you at least have to get me one free agent. And not on day, and not after free agency is over. You got to get me a free agent that makes sense for the team to win no later than day 2. I don't want a day 3. I don't want a day 1. At least a day 2. At least a day 2. You'd have to make me the promise that also, if I come to you and tell you there are needs on this team, you have to get at least one person that can help this team at the trade deadline. Ben Johnson has already put all these stipulations out there without putting them out there. So if we got Ben Johnson, Jerry would have no choice but to do something different. Because I'm telling you, Ben is going to put not just the Cowboys, Ben is going to put everyone to this same test, whoever tries to get him. He is. Roderick, what's going on, my brother? Appreciate that super chat. Super chats, $1.99. Appreciate it. What you doing today? All right, let me go back down here to the section. I want to see where we are with these answers. Because, yeah, I'm telling you, short of Ben Johnson, Deion Sanders, who else would make a change? I think those two coaches would actually make Jerry do something that he hasn't done in a long time. I do think it'll make him do something. And then I'm going to see if I can get into the 49ers, see if y'all got any comments on the 49ers talk. Okay, let me go back up. I see some of the 49ers talk. All right, let me get about right in here. Let me see where I am. Okay, Freddie says, in my opinion, Shiloh will have a longer and better career in the NFL. You know, he might have a longer and better career in the NFL because he's playing safety. But I'm interested to see. I want Shador to be successful, but I do think wherever Shador goes, I mean, it's not like this is an exception as it applies to him. But I think they better get him some weapons. But I do think, man, Shador is actually a very good thrower of the ball. I like his ball placement. Shador can play some ball. He can. Make no mistake about it. Shador can play some ball. Exactly, CB. That's what I'm pointing out. His best years were with Kellen Moore. And I'm sure, I bet you, Jerry, because I'm telling y'all, Jerry did not want to get rid of Kellen Moore. Jerry did not want to get rid of Kellen Moore. But, again, Mike McCarthy is a shrewd operator. He almost forced their hands. They gave Mike McCarthy some control that we're not giving him credit for. Matt D, Aaron Glenn were bringing a culture and some of the Bill Parcells no-nonsense in. Yeah, I'm just wondering, though, because they got so much money spent on the offensive side of the ball, what they bring him in. But I'll tell you this, Matt D, people may be shocked. He might bring him in. He might bring in somebody of that ilk. He might. He might shock everybody. Troy said if Dallas can pull off bringing in Saleh as the defensive coordinator, it would be huge. I think it would be huge for Micah Parsons especially. I think it would be huge for Micah Parsons if he did it. Sandman, those days are over when defenses can dominate a game. I still believe you need a great defense. I still think you need great defenses to win it all. I do too. Defenses win championships. They do. And that's one of the things that people don't give the Cowboys of the 90s credit for. I mean, man, they had top 10 defenses. And I gave a stat the other day saying, man, they went back here on 105.3 The Fan, and they looked it up in the last few years. There's only one quarterback that's won a Super Bowl without a top 10 defense. And there was only two teams that have done it, and both of them were Patrick Mahomes, quarterback on those teams. Scotty says, Kellen Moore threw a touchdown pass to Jason Witten back. Let's have them both on the team. Well, I can tell you this. If Kellen Moore comes, you better believe Jason Witten is coming. CB said, we don't know anything about Deion. He just brought a bunch of guys to Colorado, and they did all right. I tell you this, it ain't going to be the same in Dallas. I think Jerry will be forced to get him a top-tier staff. Just Genva said, I would be fine with Robert Saleh at DC, but I would love to see Zimmer stay for the sake of continuity. I think he's getting Mozzie straightened out. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I think Mike Zimmer, I'm not sure if Mike Zimmer wants to do it anymore. But I'll tell you this, Jerry and him are pretty good friends. If Deion comes in, I think he stays. If Kellen Moore comes in, I'm not going to be surprised if Zimmer stays. Playmaker says, wouldn't it make sense to just promote from within? I'm with Al Harris too. I think Al Harris should be the DC. Now, Schottenheimer. You're not getting Schottenheimer. Bobby Belt put us up on Game today. No, Mike Fisher actually put us up on Game today if you hadn't seen. Schottenheimer is actually a Mike McCarthy guy. At least that's what Mike Fisher said. So you're not going to get him. I don't think that Al Harris is going to be the DC if Mike is gone. McCarthy has his guys and he take them wherever he goes. I actually wouldn't be surprised. I don't think Al would go with Mike, but I wouldn't be surprised if if Dan Quinn. I wouldn't be surprised if Dan Quinn tried to get Al Harris. Yeah, Moore and Harris. It wouldn't surprise me, but I do think that if Moore comes in, we might see Zimmer. Sandman, we need Dak to make a few plays. And we're in the championship game against the Eagles. I